Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Resident Evil. Activate the Magneto gene at the start. Chapter 61. The hippie fled in panic all the way, and soon entered an alley. Suddenly, he noticed the lights of a car on the opposite road, and he rushed over without hesitation. Hey, stop, squeak. Passing cars stopped. Chu Feng was a little surprised to see the hippie blocking the road. Isn't this guy released by Jill in the police station? This guy isn't dead yet. He also ran over and blocked his way. Roar. Before Chu Feng could speak, the two female zombies from behind chased after him, opening their mouths and biting the hippie's neck directly. Chu Feng took out his pistol and aimed directly at the two zombies behind the hippie. Don't shoot, I didn't get bitten, you see. This hippie is also very nervous. The two female zombies are about to bite him. He didn't even notice it. He was still lifting his clothes there, indicating that he was not bitten and begging not to shoot. It's a miracle that he has survived to this day. Boom. Chu Feng shot directly, instantly blasting the heads of the two female zombies. Get in the car. Chu Feng needs manpower to search for Angela, and he is not entangled, said. Thank you. It's so kind of you to save my life, am I? Ah. Monster. The hippie turned around and saw the bodies of the two female zombies standing on the street. He immediately understood that Chu Feng had just shot and saved his life, and immediately thanked him greatly. Hearing that Chu Feng asked him to get in the car, without hesitation, he decisively opened the door and sat in. It's just that he just sat on the seat when he saw Matt next to him, and was almost scared to death. He watched Matt holding a bazooka and Gatling, shooting all the mercenaries in the tavern. Such a monster is actually in the car. A terrible thought suddenly arises. That is, Chu Feng rescued him to feed this monster. I was so scared that I cried and wanted to open the car door and escape from here. But unfortunately, the door has been welded. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't open the door. With a wave of Chu Feng's hand, Alice started the engine and continued to drive towards the school. Don't worry, he's fine. As long as you don't mess with him, you'll be fine. By the way, what's your name? Chu Feng was a little interested in this hippie who could live to the third part and asked. Lloyd Jefferson Wade. The hippie replied shiveringly. The vehicle is not small, but Matt is much larger than ordinary people and almost fills the rear row. No matter how the hippie avoids, it is inevitable to contact Matt. Although Chu Feng said that this guy is very nice, but looking at his face, can he have anything to do with people? He is so ugly that his parents don't even know him. Just this face can stop the most disobedient child from crying in the middle of the night. And he was sitting next to him, so how could he be at ease? At this time, he regretted it to death. It was not good for him to stop someone's car, and he even stopped his car. Too long to remember. Chu Feng frowned when he heard the hippie's self-introduction. This Westerner's name is Trouble, and there are even 3 paragraphs. It made Chu Feng speechless. LJ, just call me LJ. By the way, can you let me ride in the car behind? I really don't want to die. Seeing that Chu Feng was unhappy, the hippie shivered, worried that Chu Feng ordered Matt to eat him, so he quickly simplified his name and hoped to be able to take the car behind him. Of course, his request was naturally not addressed in any way. After a short drive, the car finally came to the gate of the school. The vehicle stopped, and Chu Feng stepped out of the car first. School, what are we doing here? LJ also got off the bus, and with a look of joy, he finally got off the bus alive. This Matt is horrible, especially his one-eyed. His legs felt weak when he saw him. He was really worried that the monster would not be able to resist biting him. It's out now, which is great. It's just that he didn't have time to be happy when he saw the dark school gate, and he was about to cry. What the hell are these people? Where is the school? A place where people gather. Few places are more crowded than schools. In such a place, zombies are definitely in groups. Isn't coming to such a place looking for death. Don't tell him that their destination is this school. Find someone. Jill drew his gun directly, loaded it, and said. Ah, it's great that you're the policewoman at that police station. Can I not go in? LJ was surprised to see Jill, but he didn't expect the person in the back car to be a policewoman. But the policewoman is useless. It's still scary in here. He doesn't want to go in. Find Angela. Dr. Charles's daughter, and he will arrange a flight for us to leave. You can leave at any time if you want to go in. Chu Feng also felt that the school was too big and needed to find someone, otherwise he would not be brought along. He said, if you want to join, join. If you don't want to join, then you can leave. Chu Feng will never force him to stay. After all, Chu Feng walked into the school first. Alice, Jill, Terry, and Matt followed and walked towards the school. LJ looked at the gate of the school that seemed to be able to eat people, and then looked at the zombies that were attracted by the car's engine, gritted his teeth, and followed in. You might die if you go in, but it's easier to die if you stay. The streets are full of zombies, where can he go? The city was also blocked. Either help find someone and leave together, or enter the street and continue to be hunted by zombies. He had no choice. Because of the power outage, the entire campus is dark, like a man-eating beast waiting for passers-by. Chu Feng took a look and saw that this school is really big, and I don't know how many classrooms there are. Even Chu Feng, who knew the plot, couldn't possibly know which floor Angela was on. Even if he did, he didn't know which classroom he was in. This is a little tricky. This place is too big, everyone searched it separately and found it. Call me directly, and I will be there as soon as possible. Chu Feng didn't hesitate and said, although separation is the most dangerous, but if you do not separate such a big school, you will not be able to find anyone tomorrow. The necessary risk is still acceptable. Chu Feng believes that with Alice, Jill and his strength, there is no problem in dealing with a wave of zombies. And this LJ seems to be very lucky by nature. All the people in a city are dead, and he can survive on the streets. The only danger is probably the unlucky female reporter Terry. Her luck has always been bad. When she was in the cemetery, so many people were grooming her, and the zombies would attack her first if they didn't attack anyone. No, I don't want to go it alone. Terry directly objected. Obviously, this female reporter also has self-knowledge, knowing that she is too dangerous to be alone, and directly opposes it. I'm fine with you. LJ took a look at Chu Feng. Alice and the monster Matt felt that the female reporter Terry was better to get along with, and suggested. Okay, then you two will be in a team, and the others will search the first floor. Chu Feng also knew that Terry would die alone, and since this lucky LJ wanted to be with her, it was not bad. One is extremely lucky, the other is extremely unlucky, and it is not necessarily the case that the cooperation will really work wonders. After all, Chu Feng immediately chose a direction and began to search. Matt himself is a monster. Zombies can be frightened when they see him. Alice and Jill looked at each other and parted. In the end, the hippie LJ and the female reporter Terry were left. Let's go. Although LJ is nervous, he is not panicked. After all, he is also a man who survived alone after the zombie outbreak. He went straight upstairs. Wait for me. When Terry saw LJ leave, it was pitch black again, and a cold wind blew through, making Terry's hair stand upright, so he quickly followed. Angela, Angela. Chu Feng held a dagger, waved his hand, the iron door of the classroom opened automatically, and shouted to the inside. The classroom was silent, except for the messy books and workbooks and the bloody handprints on the walls. On the other side, Jill walked slowly in the lower room, vigilantly searching. Alice was walking down the corridor with a pistol in hand. Boom! Alice kicked the door of the office directly, kept aiming and observing the situation. As for Matt, it was as if he was in a no-man's land, and he passed by a few zombies in a generous manner. Ho ho ho! A zombie walked staggeringly and soon met Matt. But because Matt turned into a monster, the zombies ignored him at all and continued to walk, but they didn't notice when they hit Matt, thinking they hit a wall. Boom! Matt didn't have a good impression of zombies. The unfortunate zombie didn't understand what was going on, and was slapped to death by Matt and continued on the road. LJ and Terry made their way up the stairs together. Ding ding! Suddenly there was a sound from behind the stairs. Terry hurriedly took the camera and looked back, with a nervous expression on his face, worried that there would be monsters rushing upstairs from under the stairs. However, after waiting for a long time, there was no zombie rushing out, so he let out a sigh of relief. But when she turned back, she found that LJ's figure had disappeared. LJ. Terry looked at the empty corridors on both sides, and then looked at the stairs that continued to go up, and was completely dumbfounded. She didn't know whether LJ took the left or the right of the passage, or continued to go up a higher floor. She wanted to shout LJ, but as soon as the voice came out, a strange sound came from below. A zombie actually swayed and passed by. Terry immediately covered his mouth. I can only choose a random direction and walk quickly, trying to catch up with LJ. However, unfortunately, the direction she chose was just the opposite of LJ's direction, which is good. The faster she walked, the farther the two were. What? Soon, she ran into a cleaner zombie head-on. Terry exclaimed. The zombie turned his head when he heard the sound, but found nothing. Call. In the classroom, Terry leaned on the door and found that the zombie didn't come, and he let out a sigh of relief. It was just dangerous, but fortunately, she was clever and hid quickly, otherwise she would die in this wave. Just then, by the moonlight outside the window, she saw a child kneeling on the ground. Angela. Terry was overjoyed when he saw the child wearing a school uniform. In such a big school, with so many classrooms, she found her goal by entering casually. Terry slowly approached while calling out softly. However, the child just turned his back to her, sat blankly, his body trembled slightly, he seemed to be frightened, and he was crying with his head down. Don't worry, you're all right, don't be afraid. Terry thought the child hadn't heard it, so he raised his voice a little more, comforting him as he slowly approached. Don't say it, what a coincidence, Angela is in this classroom. However, it was not the girl who was kneeling on the ground, but the girl hiding behind the bezel. Angela was delighted to hear Terry say her name, and she finally waited until rescue. Just as he was about to come out, he saw the shadows behind Terry who were attracted by Terry's voice, and he quickly covered his mouth. It was the zombies of the entire class. If she opened her mouth, she would definitely be eaten by the zombies with Terry. So although she desperately wanted to remind Terry, she was too frightened to speak. She doesn't want to die. Auntie with the camera, please stop calling my name, it will kill you. Although Angela was so anxious that her forehead was sweating, this Terry didn't know. She kept shouting Angela's name, for fear that the zombies wouldn't hear it. We'll take you home. Terry thought that the zombie child who was kneeling on the ground was Angela, stretched out his trembling hand, rubbed the zombie child's shoulder, and broke her over. Roar. The zombie child was eating well, and was very unhappy when someone grabbed his shoulder, turned back and grinned at Terry. Ah! Terry was frightened by the zombie child's back, and took a few steps back. But she bumped into something. Terry turned back and found that the entire classroom had been surrounded by dense zombie children. Oh my goodness! Seeing this scene, Terry was completely dumbfounded, her luck was really bad. Even following the person with the best luck can't change her bad luck. If you follow LJ, you can lose it, but after all, you were mistaken in the tiger's den. Roar. The kneeling zombie child turned back and bit her thigh directly. The other zombie children also swarmed up and pushed her down. Ah! Save me, save me. Terry's shrill screams could be heard in the classroom. Her camera fell to the ground, just in time to capture the scene where the zombies drowned her. And Terry's screams stopped abruptly. No, can this change her bad luck? Chu Feng was searching for a classroom when he heard Terry's scream. Listening to the screams, it goes without saying that Terry was definitely killed. It doesn't make sense. He knew about Terry's bad luck, so he intentionally put her in a group with LJ, led by the lucky star hippie LJ. She wouldn't have any problems even if she didn't do anything. Of course, what Chu Feng didn't know was that Terry and LJ had already been lost as soon as they went upstairs, and now they are not together at all. Chu Feng determined the approximate location and rushed directly to Terry. When Chu Feng found the classroom, it happened to be and collided with Jill, who came to hear the sound. Jill made a careful gesture to Chu Feng, pushed the door and walked in. There were no zombies in the classroom, no trace of Terry, and nothing but a pool of blood was left on the ground. Looking at the video camera on the ground, Chu Feng determined that this is the room where Terry was killed. Looks like we're a step late. Where the hell is this Angela? Jill picked up the camera, clicked the playback, and sighed when he could see the scene of Terry being drowned in the zombie tide. She's right here, isn't she? Angela. Chu Feng recalled the plot, and he was quite sure that Angela was in the classroom where Terry was attacked. Since Terry was killed here, Angela must be in this room. Chu Feng glanced around the classroom, and finally spoke to a baffle. What? She's here. Jill was stunned when he heard the words, looking at Chu Feng with disbelief. It's like saying, don't fool me. Here she checked it all, no one else. How did you know I was here? Just when Jill thought Chu Feng was joking, a cute little girl actually turned out from behind the baffle. She widened her lovely big eyes and looked at Chu Feng's curious and puzzled face. She didn't understand that she hid so well. Even the police elder sister didn't find out. How did this elder brother know that she was hiding here? My God, Chu Feng, when did you find her? Not only Angela, but even Jill's eyes widened, looking at Chu Feng with disbelief. She thought that Chu Feng was just talking nonsense, but she didn't expect that this Angela was actually here. Not to mention that Angela hid perfectly. Even if she hid well, how did Chu Feng know that the person hiding was Angela and not other students in the school? Does he have the power of prophets? Don't look at me like this. I'm just guessing. Just shout and don't want 20 money. Chu Feng's scalp was numb from the two of them, and he knew that he had inadvertently revealed the secret again. But it's really hard to explain this matter. It can't be said that he watched the development of the story before he crossed over. Randomly found a reason to prevaricate. Real. Jill squinted and stared at Chu Feng with her sharp policewoman eyes, trying to see if Chu Feng was lying. Angela was also completely attracted by Chu Feng, looking at Chu Feng like a curious baby. Cough cough. Now that we have found someone, let's go. Chu Feng knew that he couldn't explain it, and the more he smeared it, the more black it became, so he stopped explaining and turned to leave. Angela Asford, your name doesn't sound like a little girl. On the way, Jill took Angela's hand and asked seemingly casually. The cautious Jill had to make sure again whether this girl was really the one they were looking for. After all, I found Angela as soon as I came in, which is too coincidental. Don't be embarrassed if you find someone with the same name and different last name. So she opened her mouth to test without a trace. I'm not a little girl. Also, all my friends call me Angela. For Jill saying that her name is not like a little girl, Angela responded directly with dissatisfaction. Angela, I like it. Jill breathed a sigh of relief and praised after finding out that they were indeed looking for the wrong person. Not long after, the three came to the school's restaurant, where there were many zombies wandering. Those things are here, Angela reminded a little uneasily. It's okay baby, they're slow and we can run past them. Seeing Angela worried, Jill looked at the sluggish ordinary zombies around, moving slowly. As long as they were not surrounded, there was no threat at all, comforting. No, I'm talking about them. Angela understood that Jill would be wrong, and pointed to the zombie dog who was eating on the ground not far away. The zombie dog has lost all its fur and looks scary. You stand back and let me come. Seeing this, Jill made Chu Feng and Angela retreat, and she herself drew a pistol and stepped forward. Are you sure? This zombie dog is not weak. Chu Feng was stunned when he heard the words. He didn't understand why Jill had to go on his own with such a powerful mutant beside him. In my memory, this Jill seemed to be unable to beat the zombie dog, so he reminded. I can do it. Jill looked resolute. In the past police station, she was the best and the strongest. She has the final say in everything. She is used to being a strong first sister. However, since she met Chu Feng, she has been suppressed in the limelight, and there is no chance to show her strength along the way, which makes her feel very aggrieved. In particular, Chu Feng's suspicion aroused her stronger side and strengthened her belief in showing her hand in front of Chu Feng. She can't beat a crawler, but she can't believe a dog she can't handle. Okay, I'm swooping next to me. Seeing that Jill's eyes were firm, Chu Feng knew that he could not persuade him, so he no longer objected, and pulled Angela to the back. Anyway, with him by his side, a zombie dog couldn't hurt Jill. Of course, Chu Feng also took out a pistol from the storage space as a precaution. If Jill is in danger, he can rescue him at any time. Wow wow wow. At this time, the zombie dog seemed to have finally found the three of them, raised his head, roared, and rushed towards them directly. Bang bang bang. Facing the zombie dog rushing over, Jill did not hesitate to lift his gun, aim and shoot. But she seemed to have forgotten one thing. That is, this is not an ordinary dog, but a zombie dog infected with virus and moving quickly. It moves twice as fast as a normal dog. Such a high-speed charge made her unable to resist, and after several consecutive shots came down, she didn't even hit a single shot. Boom! Jill was directly hit by the zombie dog's charge and smashed onto a table. The pistol in his hand was also thrown out. Wong! Seeing that Jill was knocked down, the zombie dog became even more excited, roared, and then rushed towards Jill. In the air, it opened its bloody mouth, exposing its sharp fangs, intending to launch a fatal attack directly on Jill. Jill didn't expect this zombie dog to be so strong. It was too late to pick up the gun, so he could only pick up a chair to block in front of him. At this moment, Jill regretted it. She shouldn't be competitive in front of Chu Feng, but now, she can't show a hand in front of Chu Feng, but she will die here. At this time, on the other side of the door, a mercenary pushed open the door and walked in. This soldier is none other than Nikolai, who received a call to search for Angela. As soon as he came, he and Carlos searched separately. I heard the gunshots just now, and just saw the zombie dog about to attack Jill, and his eyes glowed. Nicholas has first-class marksmanship and unparalleled combat power, and especially likes to pretend in front of beautiful goddesses. Now that I see a zombie dog going to attack a police flower, it's just God helping me, Nikolai. Isn't this the chance to give him a hero to save beauty? How could he miss such an opportunity? Without hesitation, Nikolai lifted the gun decisively, aimed at the zombie dog, and prepared to shoot it, so that he could show off his superb marksmanship in front of the beauty. According to normal circumstances, with his top-level neural reflexes of a top-level mercenary, this forced him to be a set. But he ignored the fact that there was a more perverted person at the scene, that is Chu Feng. No matter how good Nikolai's marksmanship is and how fast his response is, he still needs to react and aim. However, I'm sorry, Chu Feng has the Magneto gene, and he never needs to aim when shooting. So he pulled the trigger the moment Nikolai aimed at the zombie dog. Bang! The gunshot sounded, and a bullet dragged a hot tail flame and flew directly from Chu Feng's muzzle, correcting its trajectory in the air. Before the unlucky zombie dog could react, it was shot in the air by Chu Feng, fell to the ground, twitched a few times, and stopped moving. A system reward reminder popped up directly in Chu Feng's mind. Ding! Congratulations to the host, kill an ordinary zombie dog and get 20 points. Ha! What the hell is going on? Nikolai was stunned. He thought that he, the top mercenary, was already the top gun king in the world. Unexpectedly, someone here reacted faster than him, and even shot and grabbed his chance to headshot. Can you believe such a thing? Roar! At this time, another zombie approached Jill from behind and bit her neck directly. If this is bitten, Jill must be cut to pieces. Nikolai did not hesitate and raised the muzzle again. Boom! Another shot rang out, and the zombie who was about to attack Jill was instantly headshot. It's impossible. How could an Oriental man be faster than my mercenary's gun? Compete with my marksmanship, right? Let me show you the ability of Lao Tzu's Gun King. Nikolai was originally an arrogant mercenary who believed that his marksmanship was unrivaled in the world. Not to mention an Oriental man, even the big bosses in the various mercenaries have never served anyone. However, this time I was going to pretend to be a coercion, and I was actually covered by an Oriental person. Can this be bearable? So he immediately wanted to shoot other zombies and show Chu Feng his gun skills. Crack! Nikolai aimed at a zombie head at the fastest speed. Boom! However, the result was still that before he pulled the trigger, Chu Feng's gunshot sounded first, and the zombie he aimed at fell down. Nikolai did not believe in evil, and aimed wildly. And those zombies also fell madly, all of them were headshot by Chu Feng. As if in Chu Feng's eyes, these zombies don't need to aim at all, just lift the gun and shoot to get a headshot. Chu Feng's mind is also constantly popping up the system prompt. Ding! Congratulations to the host, kill an ordinary zombie and get 10 points. Ding! Congratulations to the host, kill an ordinary zombie and get 10 points. Wow! Big Brother Chu Feng is amazing. Angela is not an uninformed person, but when she saw Chu Feng holding a small pistol, he didn't even aim, he fired at will, and the gun shot in the head. Chu Feng exclaimed. As far as Chu Feng's skills are concerned, she believes that he is the Gun King. But Chu Feng's oldest is in his early 20s, and the Gun King at this age is too young. That's fine, you've never seen him control hundreds of guns at the same time, that's called a pervert. Jill got up from the ground and listened to Angela's admiration for Chu Feng, with a dejected expression. She is completely convinced now, and compared with such a freak, she is simply a brain show. It's not human at all. Auntie, I don't read much, so don't lie to me, and control hundreds of guns at the same time. How can this be fired? Angela looked in disbelief when she heard Jill's words. Although she is a child, she is not stupid. You said that Chu Feng can take a small pistol and shoot a headshot. What the hell is a few hundred guns? Can Chu Feng move with both hands? Can't do it with 3 heads and 6 arms. PFF'd. Hey, you're going too far. Why call him Big Brother, but call me Auntie? Am I that old? When Jill heard that Angela was called Big Brother Chu Feng, she even called her Auntie, and her face drooped down immediately. She is very young, okay. Is there anything more extreme than being called an aunt for a police flower as young and beautiful as she is? He. Seeing Jill's runaway appearance, Angela couldn't hold back and laughed directly. Chu Feng's side was very cool, but Nicholas on the other side was crazy. Hey, Oriental, are you playing with me? Seeing the last zombie in the restaurant fall down, the 3 of them teased him as if they were air. Nicholas finally couldn't help but burst out and roared directly at Chu Feng. Nicholas is angry. Wherever he aims, Chu Feng will kill first, and he is faster than him every time. You are deliberately trying to find fault, right? Nicholas has to admit that Chu Feng's marksmanship is indeed better than him, but you can't tease him like a mercenary gun king. Not even a single zombie was left, all of them were headshots. Where is he pretending to be forceful? He is just passively watching Chu Feng pretending to be forceful. What's even more hateful is that after Chu Feng killed all the zombies, these 3 people actually regarded him as air and made fun of him there. This is too much. He's the spear king among mercenaries. Hey, give me some face. Ah, who are you? When did you come? Chu Feng killing zombies is so cool. He didn't notice anyone beside him, he just kept reaping points. Unexpectedly, someone came in at the door on the other side. The moment Chu Feng's words came out, Nicholas only felt a buzzing sound in his head, as if he had been blasted by countless thunders, and then hundreds of thousands of heads of grass galloped past. Nicholas was completely stupid. He really thought that Chu Feng was trying to compete with him on his marksmanship, so he would hit the zombies he was aiming at every time. Now it seems that Chu Feng didn't find him at all, and just played it casually. I am a god. What is the origin of this Chu Feng, who unexpectedly defeated him, the gun king among the top mercenaries? What if he got serious? Crazy, either he is crazy, or the world is crazy. How can there be such a terrifying monster in this world as Chu Feng? How can he be the gun king? What should I do now? Go up and tell Chu Feng that he just tried his marksmanship with Chu Feng, and then he failed to fire a shot, and Chu Feng won. Shame, it's simply too embarrassing. Cough cough. No, it's all right. Nicholas figured out everything, and hurriedly waved his hand to indicate that he and Chu Feng had nothing good jows. He felt that he was too embarrassed to let Chu Feng know that he had just tested his marksmanship with him. Fine. Chu Feng directly raised the muzzle and pointed directly at Nicholas. What are you doing? Nikolai did not expect that Chu Feng would suddenly point the gun at him, thinking that Chu Feng was going to kill him, and was about to raise his gun to fight back. Bang bang dust. After 2 shots were fired, Nikolai heard the sound of a heavy object falling behind him. When he turned around, he realized that there were already 2 zombie dogs lying behind him. Thank you. Nikolai's back was covered in cold sweat, but fortunately Chu Feng found out that he was killed, otherwise he would be dead now. At this moment, Nicholas was finally completely convinced, acknowledged Chu Feng's status as the gun king in his heart, and expressed his gratitude to Chu Feng. However, at this time, Chu Feng didn't care, because he had heard the latest notification sound from the system. Congratulations to the host Chu Feng, accumulated 10,000 points, do you choose to upgrade now? Looking at the system's upgrade prompt, Chu Feng instinctively upgraded immediately, but after the first upgrade, Chu Feng understood that the upgrade was a process of reorganization and fusion of his genes and Magneto's genes. This process takes time. Once he chooses to upgrade, he will inevitably fall into a coma for a period of time until the upgrade is successful. And during this time, he has no ability to protect himself. The best way is to find a safe place, or let someone else protect him, and he will upgrade. So he did not choose to upgrade immediately, but planned to leave here and find a safe place to upgrade. Nicholas, nice to meet you. Nicholas respected the strong the most, smiled and took a step forward, stretched out his hand to Chu Feng, and introduced himself. What? Chu Feng was just immersed in the system prompts, and he just regained his senses and wondered. Forehead. Nikolai's outstretched hand froze in the air, looking very embarrassed. Not only did Chu Feng not want to shake hands with him, but he was distracted when he introduced himself, leaving him speechless. Could it be that his presence is really that low? If he just came in and was not found, he is standing in front of Chu Feng alive. Can't you see this? You work for Bao Umbrella Company. Gil, who was on the side, saw that Nikolai was dressed like a mercenary, and didn't like him, so he asked. It used to be, but they left me here to die, so now I think I'm freelance. Seeing Jill asking about it, Nikolai didn't hide it, and said. Indeed, he did start out working for the Umbrella Company. But now that everyone has left him here to die, he will naturally not work for the Umbrella Company anymore. Dang. At this moment, the sound of items falling behind came from behind everyone. Crack. Jill and Nikolai hurriedly turned around and aimed behind them. When I saw the person coming, I was stunned for a moment. I was a beautiful woman again. What's going on in this school? Why do beautiful women turn this way? It was none other than Alice, who came after hearing the news. Quote. When Nikolai saw Alice, he hurriedly put away his gun and stepped forward to introduce himself. However, Alice ignored him at all, went straight to Angela, stared at her for a long time, and said, she is infected. What? When Jill heard the words, she was stunned. When did Angela get infected? Why didn't she know Cafe? Nikolai looked at Angela with a solemn expression. His mission this time was to find and bring Angela out safely. If she is infected, then his deal with Dr. Charles is not worth it, and it is hard to say whether Dr. Charles will provide them with a plane to leave. The atmosphere at the scene instantly became dignified. Only Chu Feng looked indifferent, as if he was not surprised that Angela was infected, as if he had known it for a long time. In fact, Chu Feng did know it for a long time. The research on this virus was originally intended to cure Angela so that she could walk normally. Now that Angela can walk, she has already used the T-virus. And Alice is also deeply infected, and the two will have induction when they are close to each other. That's why, when he was on the bridge, Matt ambushed her and she would notice the same thing. How do you know? Jill could not accept the failure of this mission and questioned. Because she was infected too. Alice didn't speak yet, but Angela spoke first. Alice can sense the T-virus in her body, and she can sense the T-virus in Alice's body. So she knew that Alice was also infected. You're infected. When are you going to tell us again? Jill was a little unacceptable when he heard the words, even if this Angela was infected, even Alice, who had been with her all the time, was an infected person. And she knew nothing about it. Let me see. Alice didn't mean to explain, and indeed, she didn't need to explain to Jill. It was Jill who joined her team with Chu Feng, not her, who did not need to be responsible for Jill. Instead, Alice was curious about Angela's infection. Although Chu Feng had said it, she still needed confirmation. Do not. Angela directly refused. You know I won't hurt you, let me see. Alice gave full play to her ability to coax children and said. Angela hesitated for a while before lifting her sleeves, revealing the dense pinholes on it. Apparently it wasn't her first injection. Alice opened her backpack to reveal a metal box containing a large amount of antiviral serum. This is antiviral serum, where did you get it? Alice looked at the large amount of antiviral serum and asked. My dad, he's sick, and one day I'll be sick too. He just wanted to stop that from happening. When I was very young, I had to use crutches to walk. They said my condition would not get better, it would get worse. He found a way to make me stronger. Then they came and took his invention. He's not a bad guy, he didn't expect something like this to happen. Angela slowly opened her mouth to tell that her father had a disease that could be inherited. Make her paralyzed like her father. In order to allow her to walk, her father developed the T-virus, but what he did not expect was that the research results were appropriated by the Umbrella Company. She was sorry for those who died in Raccoon City. But her father is not a bad person, he just wants to save her. He could not have imagined that such a crisis would break out in the entire Raccoon City. It's okay, we all know. Alice took Angela into her arms, and said comfortably. When Alice was actually in the hive, she got this news from Chu Feng. She just wanted to confirm it further. Now Angela speaks the same as Chu Feng, proving that she didn't lie, and Chu Feng didn't lie either. You all know. Angela was stunned when she heard the words, with a puzzled look on her face. She never mentioned this to anyone. Just said, you all know what it means. Ah, Chu Feng told me. Isn't he your dad's friend? You don't know him. When Alice heard Angela's words, she was stunned. Something was wrong. Chu Feng knew so much about Angela and could contact Dr. Charles to make a deal, so he should have known Dr. Charles. What's wrong with the situation? Angela doesn't even know about Chu Feng. I only saw Big Brother Chu Feng for the first time today. Angela is even more puzzled. She just met Chu Feng today and doesn't know him at all. When did she tell him? Shish. Alice turned back suddenly and looked at Chu Feng in disbelief. Chu Feng didn't know Angela nor Charles before today, so why did he know that the T-virus was developed by Dr. Charles for the treatment of Angela when he was in the hive? Could it be that Chu Feng can really predict the future? Shish. Jill, Nikolai and Angela also all looked at Chu Feng. Ah, don't look at me with such eyes. I said I'll just watch movies more often. Do you believe me? Chu Feng is an upright person and doesn't like to lie. He is a little hairy when he is seen by everyone, and he speaks truthfully. He really didn't lie. These things were really what he learned from watching movies, but when he said it like this, even he himself found it hard to believe, let alone expect these people to believe it. Cut. If you don't want to say it, don't say it. Why make up such a nonsense reason? That's right. Even if it is said that you have traveled back from the future, it is more credible than this. Just kidding me. You can know the plot even by watching a movie. Who is it? Big Brother, how bad are you? You actually want to lie to the child, Z. Sure enough, when Chu Feng's words came out, Jill was the first to express disbelief, neither did Nicola and Angela, and even Alice couldn't believe it. You say you, if you don't want to say it, don't say it. Why make up a reason for it? I know from watching movies, and they don't watch movies less, how come they can't predict the future? Even if you are serving dim sum, it sounds more reliable than watching a movie to understand the plot and make up a story that has traveled back from the future. If what Chu Feng said is true, aren't they people in the movie world? How can they believe such a thing? Can't believe it at all. Then I can't do it. Chu Feng shrugged and stopped explaining. He has no other way, you have to ask, he tells the truth. No one believes it. He really just watched the Resident Evil movie and traveled to this parallel movie world, blame him. Boom. Just when everyone couldn't accept Chu Feng's explanation, they all thought that when Chu Feng was lying to them, the door was knocked open. Another mercenary broke in directly, and everyone turned their guns around. The two sides looked at each other's guns, refused to give in to each other, and were ready to open fire at any time. Don't shoot, my own. He made a deal with that doctor, just like us. LJ then turned out from behind the door, saw Chu Feng and others, and quickly explained. Carlos. Nicholas. Nicola also saw the person coming, it was his Captain Carlos. Carlos also saw Nikolai, with a surprised look on his face. He didn't expect that this group of people would have his own teammates. Then put down the gun. Cough cough. As soon as Carlos relaxed, he coughed violently, obviously his condition was not very good. Is he infected? Chu Feng looked at Carlos and said. Crack. When Alice heard the words, she immediately raised the gun and said, How long have you been infected? More than 2 hours. Carlos didn't hide it either and said. What? Hell, you should have said it earlier, I've been so close to you. LJ was startled when he heard Carlos' words. He didn't expect that the person who saved him was actually an infected person, and he walked with him for so long. You were lucky. Alice smelled the infection for 2 hours and put down the gun. It can only be said that this Carlos is very lucky, the infection time is not too long, and they happen to have a lot of antiviral serum here. Roar. At this moment, Matt also heard the movement here. Ah, Angela reacted the fastest, and when she saw Matt, she thought the monster was coming. She was so frightened that she turned around and ran, but fortunately Alice caught her quickly, so she didn't let her run away. It's okay, he's not a bad guy. Alice took Angela into her arms and comforted her. My God, what kind of monster is this? When Carlos and Nikolai saw a terrifying monster approaching, they were almost scared to pee, and they fired their guns. Shish. The next moment, they all shot out of their hands and flew towards Chu Feng. What happened? Why did my gun fly away? Eastern, what have you done to my weapon? What trick? Carlos and Nicholas looked confused. They didn't understand what happened just now, why when Chu Feng waved, their weapons couldn't be grasped and flew out. What exactly did this Chu Feng do to their weapons? I took the gun, this is my friend Matt, don't blame me for being rude if you dare to shoot indiscriminately. Chu Feng warned with a cold face. After all, Chu Feng saw that everyone had arrived, ignored the reaction of the two, and took the lead in walking towards the school gate. What the hell, this monster is your friend. Nikolai was stunned and stared at Matt for a long time. How could he think that Matt was a monster? He didn't understand how such a monster was a friend. Could it be said that zombies are also wise these days? It is not allowed to say that he is a monster, he is also a human being, but he was turned into this by the Umbrella Company, and he is also my friend. Alice directly warned Nikolai while explaining. She still attached great importance to the first group of teammates who came out of the hive all the way. Who are you? Dare to order us? Carlos is a little unconvinced. He is the captain of the mercenary army, and who is Chu Feng? If they say they will take their weapons, they will take their weapons and order them. He's our captain. If you still want to live, it's best to hear it. Jill knew the horror of Chu Feng, and reminded him through Carlos. Chu Feng is the leader of the entire team, and his combat power is not as good as everyone else's combined. Besides, you are a newcomer who was bitten by a zombie. If Chu Feng does not agree, who would dare to inject you with antiviral serum? Captain, what ability do you have to lead the team as an Oriental? Carlos was even more dissatisfied when he heard the words. He never thought that everyone in this team seemed to be very skilled. It's not the captain at all, but that inconspicuous Oriental Chu Feng is the captain. This is hell. Not good. Nikolai was startled when he saw that Carlos was going to challenge Chu Feng, and hurriedly went to Carlos. Carlos didn't know the horror of Chu Feng, he knew it. Don't look at this guy's ordinary appearance, he has nothing but handsome, but his strength is unfathomable. Before he showed his true strength, he was defeated. Such people are not something they can mess with. Nicholas, why are you pulling me? I'm telling the truth. He's an Oriental, and he's so weak that he dares to command our mercenaries. Isn't this a joke? Carlos didn't understand what happened to Nikolai and why he was pulling him. You know, in Raccoon City, where zombies gather, firearms are their lives. Chu Feng took their guns to kill them, how could he be the captain of a top mercenary army? What made him even more speechless was that his teammates actually pulled him and prevented him from getting the gun back. He even had some doubts about whether his teammates were fake. You want to challenge my position as captain? Chu Feng had already walked to the door, and when he heard Carlos's words, he stopped, turned around, and looked at Carlos and said it coldly. That's right. As the captain of the mercenary, Carlos was naturally not afraid when facing a college student like Chu Feng. He raised his chin with a proud look on his face. Boom! Carlos broke the glass directly and fell out of the school. A steel pipe was inserted directly on top of his head, only a millimeter away from his head. As long as he comes down a little more, then he will surely die. You're not qualified to be captain. Chu Feng stepped out and looked at Carlos, who was on the ground with a calm expression. Just kidding. He is the man who has awakened the gene of Magneto, isn't it just like playing against a mercenary army commander? Not killing him directly would be merciful. Carlos. Nikolai rushed out to check, and found that Carlos was scratched by glass in many places, but it was not fatal. Obviously, Chu Feng was showing mercy. Let's go. Carlos gave Chu Feng a vicious look, turned and walked out. Obviously he also understood that he was not Chu Feng's opponent, and the weapon could not be retrieved. And he didn't want to be with Chu Feng either. This. Nikolai looked at Chu Feng and then at Carlos, who was leaving, hesitating for a while, and finally chose to leave with Carlos. Carlos is his captain after all. Watching Carlos leave, Chu Feng did not stop him. He did not intend to kill them, nor did he return the weapons to them. No need, he had no grudges with the two of them. If Carlos hadn't shot Matt and refused to accept discipline, he wouldn't have shot. Carlos has been bitten by a zombie, and Raccoon City has been blocked and is about to be leveled. It can be said that if they leave, they will surely die. Of course, Chu Feng has antiviral serum and can treat him, but Chu Feng remembers that this guy messed with Alice in the third part. It's better that such a rival in love disappear, even if he doesn't know Alice now. Beep beep. Just then, the phone booth at the school gate rang. Chu Feng stepped forward and picked up the phone. Let me talk to my daughter. On the other end of the phone came Dr. Charles's voice. Apparently he had seen through the camera what had just happened, and had seen his daughter come out after him. Tell me, where is the plane? Chu Feng said lightly. There's a helicopter, ready to take off in 40 minutes. That will be the last plane to leave Raccoon City before it explodes. Now I can. Charles sat in front of the computer, took a puff of cigarette, and said. Chu Feng understood that this guy wouldn't give the address without talking to her daughter, and he didn't need Dr. Charles to speak, but handed the phone directly to Angela. Dad. Angela answered the phone and said. Ah, hey baby, how are you? Charles didn't expect Chu Feng to do things so straightforwardly. He knew what he was going to do before he even opened his mouth. Hearing his daughter's voice, his tone softened immediately. When can I see you? Angela also missed her father and said. Soon, these people will bring you to see me, we will meet soon, and let the big brother answer the phone. Charles talked to his daughter on the phone, knowing that Angela was fine and that time was running out, so he stopped talking and asked Angela to return the microphone to Chu Feng. The helicopter is parked at the city hall, I suggest you hurry up. Charles didn't hesitate and said. Understood. Chu Feng got the address and hung up the phone. Seeing that everything was explained, Dr. Charles let out a sigh of relief. Russell. However, the next moment, the computer screen signal was directly disconnected, as if the link was disconnected by something. Computers are not very reliable, just like people. Behind Charles, a cold voice came. Charles turned back and saw that Kane was looking at him coldly. And next to him, there was a soldier. Apparently, everything he had just done was discovered. On the other hand, although Chu Feng did not know that Kane had specially prepared a plastic unit for him, the entire armed team did not have any metal elements, and wanted to take Chu Feng in one fell swoop. But he still felt a sense of crisis in his heart. It's not close to the main city hall, and it is estimated that it will take nearly half an hour to drive. Chu Feng estimated that this time should be enough. Go to the city hall. Jill, come and drive, Alice, and you sit in the back with me. Seeing that time was running out, Chu Feng ordered without hesitation. I will drive. Jill was about to drive the car behind, but Chu Feng asked her to drive, and he had to sit in the back seat with Alice. Although Jill was very confused about Chu Feng's arrangement, he still listened carefully. 0. She guessed that she would let her drive because she was familiar with Raccoon City as a policewoman. Boom boom boom. The car started and went straight to the destination. Seeing the car start, Chu Feng didn't hesitate and just lay down. Forehead. Jill was stunned when he saw Chu Feng's actions behind him from the rearview mirror, and his face turned red. She thought that Chu Feng let her drive because she was familiar with the road conditions, but it didn't seem right. Chu Feng asked her to drive, why did he lie down behind him instead? Could it be that what is he going to do with Alice in the back? When is this all? Can't you, Chu Feng, as the captain, do something normal? Is now the time to do that? Jill was so distracted that he almost collided with the car on the road. Well, Chu Feng, wouldn't it be inappropriate to be here? Don't say Jill misunderstood, even Alice misunderstood. Although she did say that Chu Feng would never refuse to ask her again in the future, but Chu Feng is too jerk. It's still at this juncture that he wants to be in the car. What time is this? There's a policewoman in front of you. What should I do? It is his request again, should I refuse or not? Alice is caught in a battle between heaven and man. It's just right here, protect the law for me. After Chu Feng finished speaking, without hesitation, he directly said to the system in his heart, System, start to upgrade. Ding. Upgrading takes time, please ensure your own safety. Upgrade starts. As the system's prompts sounded, the genes in his body were constantly disconnected and recombined into new powerful genes. Such genetic changes are very painful, so the system cuts off his consciousness directly. Chu Feng only felt the darkness in front of him, he fainted, and fell softly into Alice's arms. Is it the right place here? Well, you light one. Protector. Alice thought that Chu Feng was going to do something with her in the back seat of the car, but she had already convinced herself in her heart. However, when she closed her eyes and waited for Chu Feng to kiss her, Chu Feng actually fell asleep in her arms. Looking at the sleepy Chu Feng, Alice's cheeks were hot. What the hell was she thinking about just now? How could such an upright person like Chu Feng do such a thing at this time? Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully upgrading to Tier 3. With the sound of a system prompt, Chu Feng successfully awakened the Magneto gene level 3 in his body. For a moment, Chu Feng felt that his consciousness broke through the shackles. Find your consciousness in a world of energy made up of the electromagnetic spectrum. The world that his consciousness sees is completely different from the real world, and he sees that the surrounding space is full of fluctuations of various energies. There are light waves, electromagnetic waves, weak ultraviolet rays, and even the Earth's magnetic field, gravity. Everything is extremely beautiful. Suddenly, a beam of radio waves oscillated past, causing Chu Feng's attention. Chu Feng's consciousness was attached to it, and a voice sounded in Chu Feng's mind. Why hasn't this enemy come yet? The radio wave disappeared, and another radio wave sounded. Do not know. Hey, K, what exactly is our mission this time? Nonsense, of course it's arresting people. Arrest people. Have you ever seen someone arresting someone with a plastic gun? This thing is so weak that as long as the hijacker has a gun, we will be at a disadvantage, so we can't use normal weapons to attack directly. The person who is to be arrested is extremely dangerous and can control metal, and metal bullets are ineffective, so let's switch to plastic weapons. As long as the leader of the Oriental is anesthetized and brought down, the others in ambush can use normal weapons to fight. Really, is there really anyone who can control metal? Hey, you guys, don't chat casually, keep the radio silent, and be vigilant. Yes, across the street from the city building. What should we do? We have already arrived, but Chu Feng is still in a coma. Jill looked at the unconscious Chu Feng, and then watched the sky gradually brighten, and said anxiously. Chu Feng didn't ask us to act, just wait. Alice also wanted to leave Raccoon City sooner, but Chu Feng didn't wake up and didn't let them act on their own, so she still wanted to wait until Chu Feng woke up. Wait, the helicopter has been parked for a while. If the helicopter takes off, we will be finished. Jill looked anxiously at the helicopter outside the Shijung building from a distance. That thing could take off at any moment, and if the last of those parachutes were to leave by helicopter, they wouldn't have a chance to get out of Raccoon City. When the nuclear bomb falls, none of them will want to live. Yeah, we can't wait any longer. I don't think there are many defenders. With our strength, we shouldn't be able to win. Besides, don't we still have Brother Matt? What are we afraid of? LJ also opened his mouth to persuade. LJ's nerves are big. After a period of time together, this LJ is not so afraid of Matt, even a little familiar. He has never seen Chu Feng's ability, but he has seen Matt's combat power with his own eyes. With him around, what should they be afraid of? I'll get the fire, you guys go get the helicopter. Matt also felt that he couldn't wait any longer, and he hated those who protected the umbrella. Coupled with his body that can't die without a headshot, he is not afraid of the soldiers of the Umbrella Company at all. The only worry is that the helicopter finds it wrong to take off immediately, then they will do it in vain. So his strategy is very simple. He comes to deal with the guards, and attracts firepower. Alice leads people to snatch the helicopter to prevent the enemy from finding out that they are wrong and leaving. Okay, then Chu Feng, you're awake. Alice heard Matt's strategy and felt that it was feasible, so she was ready to make up her mind for Chu Feng, and then grab the helicopter first. However, before she finished speaking, she found that Chu Feng slowly opened her eyes. Chu Feng, it's great that you finally woke up, let's hurry up. Don't let that helicopter fly away. Jill was overjoyed when he saw that Chu Feng finally woke up. If Chu Feng is not there, if the enemy sees that the situation is not good, they will directly drive the helicopter and leave, then they will be empty. But with Chu Feng there, it was different. In case the enemy wants to escape, Chu Feng can also control the helicopter and prevent it from flying away. Everything is ready, so what are you waiting for? Let's get started. Wait a minute, it's a trap for me, and the first wave of people they've ambushed all put on plastic weapons. Chu Feng hurriedly stopped Jill's actions and said. If he hadn't advanced to the third rank and couldn't sense the electromagnetic wave signal, he would have really rushed over and grabbed it with confidence. At this time, the plastic-armed soldiers in ambush gave him a salvo of plastic anesthesia needles, and he might have been brought down. When the other normal armed soldiers come out to harvest again, it is hard to say whether Alice and the others can handle it. After all, even according to the original plot, it was only at the expense of Matt that he turned defeat into victory. Now that he has crossed over, things like sacrificing Matt must never be allowed to happen. And since he already knew the enemy's trap, he wouldn't go in foolishly. Did Dr. Charles lie to us? Jill frowned and looked at Angela. They came here according to the guidance of Dr. Charles. Now there is an ambush here, and Dr. Charles is the most suspicious. My dad wasn't that kind of person. Seeing that Jill doubted her father, Angela defended. I'm just speculating. Jill is truthful. It's not him, he may have been caught. Seeing Jill arguing with Angela, Chu Feng said. How do you know if they have an ambush or are targeting you, even if the enemy is using plastic weapons? Alice squinted her eyes and stared at Chu Feng suspiciously. She didn't understand how Chu Feng had just fallen asleep for half an hour, and when he woke up, he seemed to know everything. Not only does he know that the other party has an ambush, but he also knows that it is aimed at, and he even knows exactly what weapon the other party uses, which is too weird. Yeah, you even know that Angela's father was arrested. Don't tell us, God told you in your dream. Jill also looked suspiciously at Chu Feng. She couldn't figure out how Chu Feng knew everything when he slept. So what are their investigations? Not only Jill and Alice, but LJ, Matt and Angela also looked at Chu Feng curiously, wondering how he knew the enemy's strategy. I can sense radio waves, and I just intercepted some wireless communications when I fell asleep. Chu Feng didn't hide it, and said, What, you can sense radio waves? My God, Chu Feng, how much power do you have hidden? Brother Chu Feng, do you have a cell phone in your head? I feel like this world is crazy. Induction waves, is this really the world I am familiar with? When Alice, Jill, Matt, LJ and Angela heard Chu Feng's explanation, they all opened their mouths and eyes widened in disbelief, thinking they had heard it wrong. Is it possible to induce radio waves in drowsiness? Or is it possible for humans? Feeling Chu Feng, you are still a radio-based station. Even Alice, who knew Chu Feng the most, was a little confused, let alone others. Even doubted life for a while. Chu Feng, what should we do now? Alice smelled that the enemy had set up traps and specifically restrained Chu Feng's ability, and asked with some concern. Although she can also use psychic power, but, compared with Chu Feng, it is still a lot worse. It is estimated that her mind power burst into weakness because of insufficient mental power. And Chu Feng's mental strength is strong, enough for him to play a long-term battle. Without Chu Feng, their combat power would be greatly reduced. If Chu Feng participated in the war, he would be very passive when he was targeted by the enemy. After all, no one knew where the people armed with plastic weapons were ambushing. As long as Chu Feng is overcast, it will be dangerous. But if they don't take action, if they don't get the helicopter, they will die, which is really a dilemma. Jill, Matt, LJ and Angela also looked at Chu Feng nervously. You don't have to worry, I will handle it myself. I'll get those plastic-armed soldiers in the middle of the square later. Matt, you're ready to harvest with machine guns and rockets. Quote. Now that he has known the enemy's plan, he naturally has his own strategy to defeat the enemy and directly arranges it. Clear, Matt ordered and nodded. Alice, don't use your mind power casually, keep it and save the hostages. Chu Feng turned to look at Alice and instructed. Alice's mind power is very useful, but she doesn't have a system of her own, so she can't use the situation of killing zombies to get points to level up like him, and she can only exercise and use it slowly. If Alice's mind power is graded, then he is now Magneto's third rank, while Alice is still at 1 o'clock. Therefore, the use of mind power must be used on the edge of the blade to prevent waste. Yes, Alice ordered. Jill, LJ, you protect Angela. Chu Feng looked at Jill and LJ again and continued to assign tasks. Up to now, in fact, whether there is Angela or not has no effect on their departure, but Chu Feng has his own principles of action and does not do anything about crossing the river and demolishing the bridge. Especially for a 7-year-old child, he will not break his word. So even if she has no use value, Chu Feng will protect her, fulfill her promise, and reunite their father and daughter. Yes, Jill and LJ should be together. Anything else? After Chu Feng arranged the task, he asked. I have a question. Alice raised her hand. Say. Chu Feng said. How do you get them to gather in the middle of the square? Alice asked suspiciously. There is no problem with Chu Feng's plan and task arrangement, but the question is, will the enemy be so stupid? Don't hide in the dark, run out and get together and let them kill. All come here. After Chu Feng said that, he closed his eyes directly. Magneto's gene was activated, and in an instant, the electromagnetic force field unfolded directly, and all forms of energy in the electromagnetic spectrum around Chu Feng were unobstructed in front of him. He has already recorded the radio channel just now, and he has also heard the voice of Major Kane. With his Magneto's third-order precise control simulation, it is not a problem, then things will be much easier. Chu Feng directly controlled the electromagnetic force to excite the radio waves of the channel just now, and send out a synthesized voice of Major Kane. The latest news: the enemy has been surrounded by zombies on the road, and Raccoon City is about to be cleaned with nuclear bombs. I announced the end of the mission, and everyone gathered in the square to prepare to evacuate. Upstairs, in the grass, Major Kane's voice sounded from the headphones of the plastic-armed soldiers in the dark places of the hidden bunkers. Phew, it's finally over. I'm exhausted from being in ambush for so long. I thought this enemy was so powerful. I didn't expect it to be wiped out by zombies before it arrived. What zombies? Didn't the boss say? It's a zombie tide. Can those things survive? It makes sense, it's cheaper for them. Let's go. Didn't you listen to the commander? This place is about to be leveled. Hurry up, gather, don't miss the time. Yes. The days are finally over. Ha ha ha, when I go back, I will have a good rest for a few days and have a good meal. The plastic-armed soldiers who received the latest order from Major Kane were very happy, and they were not suspicious. They walked out from the upstairs, in the grass, and from various hidden bunkers, and gathered towards the square, preparing to evacuate Raccoon City. They are tired because of Raccoon City. It's finally over. I didn't expect things to go so smoothly. I also mentioned how powerful the enemy is, how to control metal firearms, and how to fight carefully. Bah, a bunch of weak chickens were killed by zombies before they arrived, causing them to squat in vain for so long. It's all right now, I've finally finished work, I can go back to have a good rest and have a good meal. Because Major Kane said that he would level the Raccoon City, they naturally did not dare to delay and rushed to the center of the square to gather. Who made you gather in the square? In the dying command post, Major Kane stared at the plane outside through the glass, waiting for Chu Feng and the others to throw themselves into the net. It turned out that Chu Feng did not come, and the plastic-armed soldiers he ordered to ambush were all concentrated in the square, and he almost died of anger. Directly open the communication and ask loudly. Sir, you ordered us to gather in the square. On the square, the captain, who was urging his teammates to line up, was stunned when he heard Kane's endless questioning. What the hell is going on with this officer? The front foot just let them gather, but the back foot forgot. You asked them to assemble themselves, and they assembled as required, but instead they were asked, what kind of plane are you doing? What? I ordered you to gather in the square. When did I give you the order? Major Kane was originally dissatisfied with the people who did not obey the order to gather privately. As a result, these people told him that he ordered them to gather, and almost lost his nose. But isn't that bullshit? He just stood in the command room to observe the command. How could he not know when the order was issued? Sir, don't make trouble, this joke is not funny. The captain was speechless when he heard that Major Kane refused to admit that he had given the assembly order. I don't understand what happened to the commander today, why he is so forgetful and backsliding. After being with Kane for so many years, can't he still hear Kane's voice? It was the order of gathering good jows from Kane just now. You didn't give an order, it was just an order from a ghost. This joke is not funny at all. Nonsense, military orders are like mountains, who are joking with you, I have never given such orders. Seeing that this subordinate insisted that he had just ordered, Kane said angrily. I don't know why Kane has a vague feeling in his heart, and he always feels that there is a problem, but he can't tell the truth. There's something weird about this. Sir, it's really your order. I have a recording. If you don't believe me, listen to it. The captain feels aggrieved. Is this captain going to kill the donkey? He ordered to retreat, but wanted to throw the pot on his head. Fortunately, he has the habit of recording, and the voice of Kane's order just now has been recorded by him. So I directly clicked on the recording just now, and Kane's voice came from the other end of the communicator. The latest news, the enemy has been surrounded by zombies on the road, and Raccoon City is about to be cleaned with nuclear bombs. I announced the end of the mission, and everyone gathered in the square to prepare to evacuate. Kane heard the voice, his mind buzzed, and the whole person was stupid. Heck, it was his voice, yes, but definitely not what he said. The entire command can testify. And he didn't receive the news that Chu Feng and the others encountered the corpse tied at all. How could he give such a ridiculous order? No, our communication has been hacked. Everyone spread out. Kane's sense of crisis is very keen, otherwise it would be impossible to climb to the current position. The moment he heard what he said was not his own words, he immediately realized that something was wrong. Although he didn't understand why the enemy wanted to gather those people, as long as it was done by the enemy, it would definitely be detrimental to them, and the converse was definitely correct. Without any hesitation, he directly ordered everyone to disperse. Yet it was too late. Matt's burly body stood straight out of the bunker. And he was carrying a bazooka on his shoulder. Boom! A rocket fired directly from the bazooka, hitting the crowd with precision. Boom! Before the plastic-armed soldiers understood what was going on, rockets exploded among them. They had already assembled together, and it was impossible to escape immediately. The sudden explosion of the rockets killed and injured a large number of plastic-armed soldiers in an instant. Then Matt's machine gun fired frantically. Those plastic-armed soldiers who were lucky enough to survive fell down one after another, causing countless casualties. No. It's the Nemesis experiment. He really isn't dead, and the helicopter, put it on me, and blast this fool to death. Major Kane looked at his soldiers like wheat being harvested by the experimental subject he was most proud of. He was angry, and he no longer cared about ambushing Chu Feng, and ordered a heavy weapon to attack. Crack! A helicopter rose from the back of the building and flew directly here. The helicopter was also loaded with a Gatling gun, which was even bigger than Matt's. Bang bang bang! The huge Gatling muzzle on the helicopter turned around and shot directly at Matt. With the power of this machine gun, even a boulder can be swept into pieces. Not to mention a flesh and blood like Matt. No matter how strong his regeneration ability is, there is also a limit. If he is beaten into a plug, he will die. Buzz. However, at this time, Chu Feng's electromagnetic force field had already unfolded, and with a wave of it, a huge truck turned over and blocked Matt's side. I'm going. What the hell is this? Where did the truck come from? It's that metal-controlled Oriental power user. The helicopter pilot and the machine gunner looked at the heavy truck, their eyes almost bulging, their mouths widened, their eyes widened, and their faces were shocked and unbelievable. I've seen scary things, but I've never seen anything so scary. A heavy truck. Yours is actually suspended like this. This Oriental ability user is too terrifying. Ding ding ding. The bullet of the machine gun is indeed strong, but it is impossible to shoot through a heavy truck. A large number of machine gun bullets are swept on the heavy truck, and only a large number of bullet holes can be punched. Crack cack. Another helicopter turned out from the other side of the building. The pilot above seemed to know Chu Feng's ability, and without hesitation, he aimed at Chu Feng and pressed the missile launch button. Whizzing. The two missiles were ejected directly from the underside of the helicopter and shot towards Chu Feng. The power of these two missiles is very strong. Even a tall building can collapse instantly, not to mention people. If Chu Feng was hit, he would definitely die. Of course, if it was Chu Feng who was still in the second rank, he could only slightly change the trajectory of these two shells to make them deviate a little. But the explosion could still reach him, severely injuring him and even killing him. But I'm sorry, now Chu Feng has advanced to the third rank, and his strength has doubled on the original basis. He is no longer the Chu Feng who can only slightly change the trajectory. Drink. Chu Feng opened his palm to the two lacing missiles, and the terrifying electromagnetic force vibrated, directly forming a decelerating electromagnetic force field. The two missiles driven by the powerful thrust actually slowed down continuously and finally stopped in the air. No matter how crazy the thrusters behind the missiles are, they will not be able to move forward at all. Go! Chu Feng made a point with both hands. The two missiles turned their direction in the air and shot at the two helicopters respectively. The pilots on the two helicopters looked at the incoming missiles and steered the planes to avoid them, but they were shocked to find that their planes couldn't move, and were held in the air by some kind of terrifying force. The two helicopter pilots cursed with despair on their faces. Boom, boom. The two missiles hit the two combat helicopters almost simultaneously. The terrifying explosion almost reflected the surrounding into daylight. The people above didn't have time to escape at all, and were instantly swept in by the hot explosion flames, and they couldn't die any longer. Mumble. Isn't he only able to lift cars? What the hell is a heavy truck? Horrible, so terrifying, that he could stop the missile in the air, it's impossible. It's crazy, can't he just deflect bullets? Why can he even control missiles? How much power is he hiding that we don't know? Two combat gunships, they were bombarded by their own missiles in an instant, God. Crazy, either I'm crazy or the world is crazy. No, he's a monster, I don't want to die. Inside the command post, all the commanders looked at the two gunships that had been bombed outside. They had seen the video of Chu Feng fighting not long ago, and they controlled more than a ton of cars, which was already very scary. However, how long has it been? Chu Feng has already been able to control more than 10 tons of heavy trucks. Heavy truck. Brother, can that thing be lifted by humans? Simply insane. What's more terrifying is that when fighting with Matt, Chu Feng couldn't even change Matt's small Gatling ballistics much. Now even the missiles can be changed. If it is only a change, then forget it. After all, it is only a deviation. If Chu Feng is not hit, the explosion can also affect him. The problem is, this time Chu Feng actually made the launched missile levitate in the air. Then go back and attack their own gunships. This is no longer a matter of simply changing the trajectory, but complete control. Some people even couldn't bear the terrifying deterrence that Chu Feng brought him, so they were so frightened that they threw down their earphones, turned around and ran away. Chapter 71. Boom. The gunshot sounded, and a bullet hole appeared between the deserter's eyebrows, his eyes widened, and he slowly fell down. Whoever dares to escape, die. Major Kane raised the smoking muzzle and opened his mouth coldly. The surrounding soldiers who were panicking and wanting to flee stopped one after another, but the fear on their faces did not diminish. After Matt ended all the plastic-armed soldiers, Chu Feng had almost no one to stop him. Chu Feng led the crowd all the way to the apron, and quickly brought the entire plane under control. Haha, we can finally get out of here. That is really good. After everyone occupied the plane, they were all excited. After so many dangers, they are finally leaving the hell on earth in Raccoon City. This puts them in a very good mood. Having Chu Feng leading the team made everyone feel very cool. It was clearly an enemy's trap, but it fulfilled them. An entire army was not enough for Chu Feng and Matt to kill. Being able to successfully snatch a plane under an army is enough for them to brag for a lifetime. I've been waiting for you. Just as everyone was about to get on the plane and take off, Major Kane pushed Dr. Charles out of the command post. Behind him was a wave of heavily armed soldiers. When Chu Feng saw Kane coming, he was ready to hand over the weapons of this wave of soldiers. Kane, however, aimed a gun at Dr. Charles's neck. If I were you, I wouldn't do this. I know your weakness very well, and as soon as I move my finger, the poison will be injected into his veins instantly. When Kane saw that Chu Feng was about to disarm, he said coldly and threatened. As Kane said, he knew Chu Feng's weakness very well. Knowing that Chu Feng has no control over plastic, the entire gun is made of plastic. There is poison inside, and he only needs to move his fingers, this Charles will surely die. If Chu Feng dared to hand over the weapons of the soldiers behind him, then he would do so without hesitation. Dad. Seeing that her father was being controlled by Kane, Angela wanted to rush over. He was caught by Jill. Let's make a deal. Kane looked at Chu Feng and said, "Deal. Do you think I'll be your guinea pig for him?" Chu Feng's face was cold. This Kane always wanted to arrest him, didn't he just want to study him? Just look at Matt, who was being studied. He entered the umbrella company, and when he came out, he was definitely tested so that he didn't even know his own mother. How could he possibly hand over his life at will? No need. I can call the shots and let you join the umbrella and be a part of us. The size of the umbrella company is beyond your imagination. There is endless money, countless women, and even power. We can give you as much as you want. You just ask for a price, and there is nothing we can't satisfy. Kane smiled and opened his mouth to invite. Major Kane was a natural lobbyist, and his words seemed to possess some kind of magic. The terms offered are also tempting. Chu Feng does not need to be an experimental subject for them to study. More than that, you can join them and become a part of them. They even gave Chu Feng everything he wanted, the money, women, and power that the world pursued. As long as Chu Feng wanted, everything could be said. Hee, how can there be such good things in this world? I joined you, and you still sent me so many things. Chu Feng didn't believe a word of Kane's words. Invite him to join, and then wait for money, beauty, and power, such a pie in the sky, you won't believe it if you say it. Of course, we only need a tube of your blood for research. How? With a single tube of blood, you can gain wealth, women, and power that the world can't make in a lifetime. This deal is a good deal. With a smile on his face, Kane continued to speak. Major Kane seemed confident in his offer. Needless to say about the strength of the umbrella. I believe that Chu Feng has seen the tip of the iceberg of the umbrella company and knows the horror of this company. A small tube of blood will immediately let you reach the pinnacle of your life, surpassing the efforts of others for decades and hundreds of years. In this case, only the top executives of the umbrella company dare to make a promise. He believed that Chu Feng was a smart person and would know how to choose. Shish. In an instant, Alice, Matt, Jill and others all looked at Chu Feng. Chu Feng has been resisting. It seems that the umbrella company has always wanted Chu Feng to do research. Asterisk. However, now Major Kane promised him not only that he would not be used as an experimental subject, but that he would join in and provide him with all favorable conditions. The price was just a trivial tube of blood research, which was beyond their expectations. This is Jowan, and blatantly. The conditions are so favorable that no one can stand it. This made them a little worried. If Chu Feng agrees, what will be their fate? Are you finished? Just when everyone was worried that Chu Feng would give up them for the sake of prosperity, Chu Feng spoke impatiently. What you saw today is just the tip of the iceberg of our umbrella company. You have figured it out clearly. If you stand against us, no matter how strong you are, you will be endlessly hunted down by the umbrella company. Seeing that Chu Feng's attitude was wrong, Kane's originally smiling face froze, and he began to threaten. His meaning is obvious: join them, be prosperous and rich, reject him, and hunt him endlessly. Humph. If you don't come, I will find you too. After Chu Feng said that, with a wave of his hand, all the guns in the hands of the soldiers behind Kane let go, suspended in the air, and turned towards them. Chu Feng, don't be impulsive. Don't forget, I have a hostage in my hand. If you dare to do it, he will die. Kane did not expect that the negotiation with Chu Feng would not go so smoothly, and Chu Feng was not interested in the various generous conditions he promised. Also disarmed his subordinates. Did he really care about the life of Dr. Charles? Aren't you afraid that he will do it now and everyone will die together? Really? Then you do it. Chu Feng looked at Kane as if he was looking at a fool. This guy studied him so thoroughly that he didn't even know how to study the people around him. Don't you know that there is a person with mind power beside Lao Su? To die? What? Why can't I move? Chu Feng, what have you done to me? When Kane heard Chu Feng's words, he was furious and was about to pull the trigger. However, the next moment, Kane was shocked to find that his whole body could not move. At this moment, Kane was completely panicked. He doesn't understand. Doesn't Chu Feng only control metal? Why can't he move? How does he know that Chu Feng can't control people, but Alice can? Buzz. Alice's power of thought continued to increase, and Major Kane's hand with the gun moved away from Charles's neck and aimed at his own. No, you can't treat me like this. Major Kane panicked and kept opening his mouth to beg for mercy, but Alice didn't pity him at all. She directly controlled his spirit and gave orders to his body. Crack! Kane's fingers were completely out of his own control, and he pulled the trigger directly. The poison needle inside flew out directly, inserted into his neck, and the venom quickly spread in his body. At this time, Major Kane was finally able to move, but the poison had already been injected, and it was impossible to take it out. This poison is really strong, and Kane immediately fell to the ground and twitched. The firearms controlled by Chu Feng also opened fire, and a large number of bullets poured out, directly annihilating the soldiers behind Major Kane. Dad. Seeing that all the bad guys were dead, Angela rushed over and threw herself into Charles's arms. It's okay, baby, Dad is okay. Dr. Charles stroked Angela's shoulder to reassure him, and then thanked Chu Feng. Chu Feng, thank you. If it wasn't for Chu Feng, he would not have been able to reunite with his daughter at all. It is impossible to live to the present. All thanks to Chu Feng. Thank you, big brother Chu Feng. Angela wiped her tears and thanked Chu Feng. For the thanks to the two, Chu Feng was not humble and accepted it directly. You will all die. Major Kane knew that he was going to die. His eyes were fixed on Chu Feng, and he uttered the last curse. He crooked his neck and completely lost his breath. However, before he came out of the command post, he had already given the order to destroy Raccoon City. As soon as he dies, the nuclear bomb will be launched immediately. It is true that Chu Feng can control the metal, but the range of the nuclear bomb explosion is too large, and it is not within the range that Chu Feng can control. The big deal is that everyone will die together. This is his last madness. By the way, Kane gave an order just before he came out. If he dies, he will directly launch a nuclear bomb to clean up Raccoon City. We must leave immediately. Dr. Charles finally thought of Kane's order and said anxiously, "Go." Chu Feng also knew that this place should not stay for a long time. With an order, everyone pushed Charles without stopping, and went directly to the transport plane. Roar! After this battle, the sound of the explosion attracted all the zombies around. Unfortunately, they came late. Boom! The transport plane lifted, throwing the zombies away, slowly flying, and quickly headed out of Raccoon City. When Chu Feng and their transport plane fast-tracked the edge of the city. Whoosh! A nuclear bomb flies in the other direction toward downtown Raccoon. The zombies on the streets along the way did not know what was going to happen, and were still wandering around, looking for food. In the city, many survivors raised their heads one after another, looking at the nuclear bomb that flew in the sky with a puzzled expression. Boom! The nuclear bomb exploded directly in the air, and a terrifying shock wave instantly rushed out to the surroundings. The glass on the building was the first to withstand the impact of the explosion, starting from the top floor and bursting all the way down. Then came the cement of the high-rise building, the frame, and the whole building shattered. The shock wave was castrated unabated, and began to continue to shock outward. With the nuclear bomb as the center, it spreads crazily. All the zombies and houses on the way were instantly destroyed, countless high-rise buildings collapsed, and the dazzling white light almost covered everything. Hold on. Seeing the shock wave coming towards this side, Chu Feng spoke loudly to remind. Boom! The terrifying impact hit the transport plane, causing the transport plane to shake violently. It's over, we're going to die. We can handle it. What if we even survive shock waves? Radiation kills us too. I don't want to die. In the face of such a terrifying explosion, the entire transport plane may crash at any time. Alice, Matt, Jill, LJ, Dr. Charles and Angela all looked horrified. They did not expect this nuclear level to come so quickly, and they broke out before they left. Even if they dodged the shock, what about the radiation? Such high radiation must be able to kill them too. This wave is dead. No. With a determined face, Chu Feng slowly closed his eyes. In an instant, the radiation wave at the center of the explosion appeared in front of Chu Feng. Drink. Facing the terrifying radiation energy, Chu Feng's forehead burst into blue veins, and the Magneto cells in his body vibrated wildly, and he directly controlled the radiation wave and bounced around. The radiation that could kill them all turned out to be the thrust of the plane, making the plane fly faster. After the blast in Raccoon City ended, a broken plane blew black smoke and quickly fell toward the forest. If you fall at this speed, you will inevitably die. However, when the plane was about to land, its speed suddenly dropped rapidly, and finally suspended on the grass and landed smoothly. Everyone is okay. Seeing that the plane finally landed successfully, Chu Feng let out a long breath and asked. I'm fine. I'm fine too. We're all fine, ha ha ha, we came out alive, we came out alive. Alice, Matt, Jill, LJ, Dr. Charles, and Angela checked each other, and although many of them had minor injuries, they were all fine. One by one, they cheered in surprise. They are finally out alive. The hellish Raccoon City, the terrifying nuclear level, they all held up. This is simply incredible. That's good. Chu Feng was sure that everyone was fine, and finally couldn't hold on any longer, and fell softly. Sure enough, it was too reluctant to use manpower to carry the nuclear bomb, and he felt that all his mental power had been exhausted. My head hurt so bad, I almost fainted. Chu Feng. Chu Feng. Big brother. LEC, Matt, Jill, LJ, Dr. Charles and Angela stepped forward nervously. Alice reacted the fastest and directly supported Chu Feng. I'm fine, it's just that the mental energy is too exhausted, it's not appropriate to stay here for a long time, let's leave here first. Chu Feng shook his head, made himself awake a little, and said. This is the Umbrella Company's plane, there is no guarantee that there is no tracking equipment on it. Now the physical condition is not good, not suitable for fighting, if you encounter it, you will be in trouble. Alice, Jill and others also nodded in admiration, and everyone quickly got off the plane and started to leave the forest. After a long time, everyone finally came to the road. It's almost time to part here. Chu Feng looked at the vehicles coming and going, and felt that it was almost time to break up, so he said. Thank you, Chu Feng. Charles pushed his wheelchair forward, shook hands with Chu Feng, and said his final goodbyes. Angela stood obediently behind Charles and helped push the wheelchair. You don't need to thank me, we are just dealing. Chu Feng reached out and shook hands with Charles, and said, what are your plans? I will leave the Umbrella, continue to fight with the Umbrella Company, and do everything in my power to take back the T-virus. Charles spoke firmly. After experiencing this life and death, he has thoroughly seen the nature of the Umbrella Company, and it is impossible for him to work for them again. He will take up legal arms and continue to fight the Umbrella Company until the results of his research are withdrawn. Chu Feng just nodded and didn't comment much. In Chu Feng's view, although Charles developed the T-virus, it fell into the hands of the Umbrella Company, and it was almost impossible to get it back. But in any case, Charles can make up his mind to continue the struggle. That is also a good thing, at least in this respect worthy of recognition. Charles quickly stopped vehicles, ready to get on. Angela suddenly ran towards Chu Feng. The two hugged, and Angela turned to leave. Big brother Chu Feng, you must come to see me when you have time. The car started and Angela was in the car, waving her small hand to say goodbye to Chu Feng. I will. Chu Feng smiled and watched Angela leave. How? Do you have any plans? Chu Feng turned his head and looked at the other people. I'm going to publicize the crimes of the Umbrella Corporation. Who of you want to join me? Jill raised Terry's camera and said, add me one. Although LJ was timid, he almost died in Raccoon City, and he was the first to join in to announce the crimes of the Umbrella Company. Of course, it was him, but the others didn't make a statement. Why, are you not going to join? Jill was a little stunned, said. I don't believe in the Beacon Country, I will go back to East Slavia to mobilize people to get more aid from other countries. Matt, who was wrapped in a cloak, spoke up. As an international fighter, he didn't believe that it would be useful to expose this matter through normal channels, nor did he believe in the Beacon Country, so he decided to return to his organization and use other methods to resist. Chu Feng, what about you? Are you not joining? Jill looked at Chu Feng, and her beautiful eyes were full of anticipation. In her opinion, Chu Feng is a man full of positive energy, full of justice in his heart, and he is also in conflict with the Umbrella Company, so he should be obliged to deal with the Umbrella. Everyone else also looked at Chu Feng. Sorry, I'm from Kyushu. Chu Feng refused directly. The Lighthouse Country is dead, and it has nothing to do with him. He is not from this country, and has no responsibility or obligation to sacrifice for this country. The reason why he stayed in Raccoon City was just to kill zombies to improve his strength. Wherever a zombie crisis broke out, he would go to upgrade. As for the justice of the lighthouse, I'm sorry, he is from Kyushu and really has no such obligation. Forehead. Jill was stunned when she heard the words. She had been with Chu Feng for a long time, and she herself accepted Chu Feng in her heart. Even subconsciously ignored Chu Feng's identity. Now the relationship between the lighthouse country and the Kyushu country is not good, and she actually invited Chu Feng to join the disclosure umbrella and maintain the lighthouse country. Join me on my side. Your ability is special, and the umbrella company will not let you study you. Matt opened his mouth to invite. This is his second invitation to Chu Feng. The first time was after the hive incident. At that time, he wanted to ask Chu Feng to join his organization, but unfortunately he was rejected by Chu Feng. Now that Chu Feng is unwilling to join Jill's side, this is an opportunity. As long as Chu Feng joins him, with Chu Feng's ability, it will be able to be reused. Do your part to maintain world peace. I will not join any organization, nor will I fight for any faction. Chu Feng also declined Matt's invitation. It's true that he is at odds with the umbrella, but he doesn't fight for any faction. In the near future, the entire zombie apocalypse will spread to the entire Blue Star. At that time, whether there are disputes between countries or wars between forces, everything will turn to ashes, and these will not make much sense. All he wants is to kill zombies, become stronger, and save his life at the end of the day. Alice, how about you? Jill looked at Alice and asked. Chu Feng is not a beacon country, so it is understandable not to join, but you Alice is a real beacon country. Gotta join in. I have no idea. Alice was a little confused, and she didn't know where to go. Originally, she thought that following Chu Feng, she could do something meaningful and fight against the umbrella. But it seems that Chu Feng doesn't care about this. In his heart, he just wants to kill more zombies and become stronger. On the one hand, she wants to continue to follow Chu Feng, on the other hand, she also wants to join Jill to expose the umbrella. The end is near, you don't have to be embarrassed by me, just do what you want. Chu Feng saw Alice's contradiction and said, the end of the world will eventually come, but the world also needs people to work hard to protect it. Whether it is like Jill who exposes the umbrella, or Matt who embarks on confrontation, they are all worthy of Chu Feng's respect. I join. Hearing this, Alice nodded without hesitation. Then let's say goodbye. I'm going. After Chu Feng said that, he directly activated the Magneto gene. This time, he did not control the metal, but directly controlled the gravity of the Earth, forming an anti-gravity field around him, making his body slowly float, and then changing the direction of gravity. Shish. In an instant, Chu Feng flew straight into the distance like a Superman, and disappeared from everyone's sight in a short while. Watching Chu Feng leave, Alice felt empty inside, as if she had lost something. Maybe she should follow Chu Feng more firmly, maybe. Jill watched Chu Feng disappear into the sky with complicated eyes. Inside the airport, Chu Feng sat on the bench and closed his eyes. We protest, will Pharma get out? On the big screen at the airport, demonstrations against the crowd in the lighthouse are being played. After experiencing the Raccoon City incident, Jill takes the lead and works with Alice and others to uncover the crimes of the Umbrella Corporation. However, as Chu Feng expected, it was of no use at all. The Umbrella directly cooperated with the Lighthouse State and began to cover up the truth of the destruction and falsified all kinds of facts. Their disclosures were not able to play much role. Fortunately, they got off to a good start, and the victims of the Raccoon City destruction also held groups and organized many demonstrations to protest their shameless behavior to the Lighthouse country. Because of the T-virus, the lighthouse is in turmoil in the country. Ding! The airport gate opened, and a beautiful girl in a white coat came out with her luggage dragging her luggage. She looked around, as if looking for something. Not long after, she saw an old woman from the White Elephant country waving to her. The red-haired beauty stepped forward slowly, and said in greeting, "Long time no see, you look good." "You look haggard." The old lady of Baishianguo briefly hugged the red-haired beauty and said, "Auntie, I'm so tired." The old woman was about to continue chatting with the beautiful woman, but the little girl next to her was unhappy, shaking the old woman's hand and complaining. "Oh, I'm so sorry, stay here, I'll try to get the car. Can you babysit Renee for me?" Seeing that the child was tired, the old woman turned her head to the red-haired beauty with a doting face. Certainly, the red-haired beauty immediately responded. I'll be back in a while. After the old woman finished speaking, she left quickly and went to find a car. All right then, let's get to know each other. My name is Claire Redfield. You can call me Claire. The red-haired beauty introduced herself to the child. I'm Renee. The little girl was a little shy. Nice to meet you, Renee. You have a nice name. Come on, let's sit over there for a while. Claire crouched down and shook hands with Renee. I don't know when the car will come, so Claire led the little girl in the hall to find a place to sit and rest. Boom. Claire was dragging her luggage with her child, and just happened to bump into Chu Feng on the seat with her eyes closed. Oh, sorry. Claire quickly apologized when she bumped into someone. No, Claire, Chu Feng is closing his eyes and waiting for the outbreak of zombies. Being bumped, he opened his eyes suspiciously. When he saw the red-haired beauty, he was stunned for a moment. The familiar red high-necked shirt with a white coat. Isn't this the classic image of Claire in the movie? Subconsciously, he opened his mouth in surprise, but then he was relieved, as if Claire was in the airport at this time. It was not surprising to meet him. You are. Claire didn't expect that this oriental person would call out her name subconsciously. She looked at Chu Feng carefully for a long time, but she couldn't think of having seen Chu Feng at all. She doesn't know many people in Kyushu. If there is a person named Chu Feng, she believes that she will be able to recognize it. Chu Feng. Chu Feng replied succinctly. Chu Feng, right, that, do we know each other? Claire was puzzled that Chu Feng would call out her name and asked. Do not know. Chu Feng shook his head and said. Of course Claire, Chu Feng knows him. After all, have you never played Resident Evil or watched an animated movie? But this Claire doesn't know him. This Claire is the popular protagonist of the Resident Evil series, Chris' sister, a cheerful and curious female college student. Judging by how she looks now, she should have graduated. During the raccoon incident, Chu Feng did not meet her in it, and did not know whether Claire experienced the raccoon incident or not. Oh fine. Claire had a suspicious look on her face. What was going on with this person? He called her name the moment he saw her, but when he asked him he said he didn't know him. Can you call me by my name without knowing you? Suspicious, really suspicious. After that, Claire sat down with Renee to rest. There's going to be a zombie crisis here soon, you'd better get out of here. Chu Feng hesitated for a while, but still kindly reminded. He has already calculated the time. Today is the day when the zombies will break out. In a few minutes, this place will become a world of zombies. That's why he came. He wants to kill more zombies, raise the level, and prepare for the coming doomsday. Ah, zombies. Here, how is that possible? Claire had always felt that Chu Feng was suspicious, but now that Chu Feng said such words, she felt that Chu Feng was even more suspicious. She felt that Chu Feng was a liar, talking nonsense in a serious manner. This is an airport, where did the zombies come from? Besides, it has been so long since the raccoon incident, let alone that the nuclear bomb has eliminated all the zombies. Even if there is a fish that slips through the net, it should have erupted around Raccoon City. How could it have erupted at an airport in the middle? It is estimated that this person did not compare the positions of the two places when he lied. There is no possibility of a chemical crisis breaking out here. Believe it or not. Seeing that Claire didn't believe it, Chu Feng stopped explaining. Chu Feng's reminder is also out of good intentions, and it is someone else's business to believe it or not. He said what should be said, but if people didn't believe it, he couldn't do anything about it. Big brother, are you talking about zombies like that? As soon as Chu Feng's words were finished, Renee on the side pointed to a staggering person not far away and shouted. Ho ho ho. Not far away, a zombie with a protest sign hanging on its chest staggered, making a strange ho-ho sound, and walked towards a fat man. And this fat man is none other than Senator Davis, special advisor to Weir Pharmaceuticals. What the hell is that? Seeing the zombies approaching, Davis was stunned and said with a puzzled look. Ho ho ho. The zombies continued to approach Davis with their teeth and claws. This time, Davis was a little flustered. Although he didn't understand what it was, the scary face and the scary ho-ho sound made him unconsciously take a few steps back. Did someone make you look like this, or was it your own genius idea? Okay, genius, you have something to say. Let him get away from me. Davis watched the zombies continue to approach, and became even more frightened. He hid behind the 2 bodyguards and warned the zombies. Ho ho ho. The zombie didn't understand Davis's words at all, and continued to stagger towards him, like a ghost in hell. Claire was shocked when she saw the zombie, combined with what Chu Feng said just now. Could it be that what Chu Feng said is true? A zombie crisis is about to break out here. However, Claire deserves to be a person who can break out of Raccoon City, and he has killed a lot of zombies, and he soon sees that something is wrong. There is a clear headgear mark on the neck of this zombie. In other words, this is a fake zombie. At this moment, Claire has already defined the matter, that is, this person and Chu Feng united to scare them good jows. Rennie, you wait for me here, okay. Claire thought she had seen through Chu Feng's trick, glanced at Chu Feng proudly, and walked towards the zombie. No matter what Chu Feng's purpose is to be scary at the airport, she will expose Chu Feng's little tricks. Come on. Claire didn't hesitate, she stepped forward and rubbed the man's hood. The zombie mask fell, revealing a wretched middle-aged man. Enough. You two, one pretends to be a zombie, and the other deliberately spreads zombie information. Who are you scaring? Claire held the zombie headgear, glared at the middle-aged man, then turned to look at Chu Feng angrily. Obviously, she felt that Chu Feng colluded with this person to scare her, and this trick was too low. Too. The man was stunned when he heard the words. He heard that Senator Davis would appear here, so he deliberately pretended to be a zombie to scare him. When are the 2 of you? Aren't you 2 together? Now it was Claire's turn to be stunned. What the hell, aren't you guys in the same group? I don't know him. The middle-aged man looked at Chu Feng with a blank expression. He didn't know Chu Feng at all. How could he join forces with Chu Feng to deceive you? This is really unfair, and he didn't mean to scare Claire, but to scare that Davis. It's you who are busy with your business. You just knew him, nerve. The middle-aged man was dissatisfied with the trick revealed by Claire, but offended that Davis and continued to stay here. Davis's 2 bodyguards would certainly not let him go. The middle-aged man left Claire aside and fled directly. Boom. Unfortunately, when he escaped, he just happened to bump into the security guard who came over. The burly security guard twisted his hands behind his back and handcuffed him. Ma'am, are you involved? After the security guard handcuffed the troubled middle-aged man, he looked at Claire and asked. In a sense, there is indirect participation. Claire thought the security guard wanted to thank her for her help, and said. She also kindly exposed this person's tricks. To be honest, she really didn't participate much, so don't thank him. Then in a sense, you have to come with me too. However, Claire thought too much, and the security guard didn't plan to thank her for her courageous actions at all. Instead, she asked her to go to the security room as well. No, please wait. Claire felt that she was unlucky enough. When she met a nonsense Chu Feng, she bravely exposed the intimidation of the demonstrators. In the end, she had to go to the security room. Please, she did a good job. You security guard can't do this to her. She has to take care of other people's children now, so she can't leave. Security guard. Just when Claire was depressed and wanted to explain, another zombie staggered towards that Davis. That Davis hurriedly called the security to deal with it and arrested the demonstrator. These fools are addicted to playing. The security guard was a little annoyed at this. These people are not finished yet. Do they have to wear zombie masks everywhere to scare people? He walked directly to the zombie, preparing to arrest the person with the zombie headgear as well. Be careful, that's a zombie. Chu Feng killed too many zombies. From a distance, he could see at a glance that it was a real zombie, and quickly reminded him. Yes, he is a zombie wearing a hood. Oriental, you wait for me to cuff this kid, and you will be next. Hearing Chu Feng's reminder, the security guard not only did not thank him, but regarded Chu Feng as a participant, and prepared to handcuff the person before taking Chu Feng back to the security room for detention. This made Chu Feng speechless. Why is it so difficult to tell the truth these days? The security guard ignored Chu Feng's reminder and directly reached out to grab the zombie's head, pulling it hard, preparing to learn how Claire pulled the zombie mask off. However, when he pulled hard, nothing came down. Is this mask so sturdy? With a puzzled look on his face, the security guard stepped forward and wanted to see where the mask was stuck. Roar. However, just as he approached, the zombie suddenly opened its bloody mouth and bit his neck. Ah! The security guard did not expect that this was not a zombie dressed up by the demonstrators, but a real zombie. Yeah, where had Renee ever seen such a scene? She was so frightened that she screamed in shock. My God, what's going on here? Davis almost didn't urinate in fear, and while retreating, he spoke in fear. Isn't that a protester? Why did he suddenly bite? In the end, what happened? Ah, killed, bite. The surrounding people had never seen such a person biting a person, and they all screamed and ran away. Claremont. At the beginning, Chu Feng told her that she still didn't believe that there was going to be a zombie outbreak here. The next moment a zombie was found. I thought it was a zombie, but it turned out to be a hood worn by the demonstrators, disguised as a zombie. So she thought Chu Feng was teasing her again. However, the next moment, the pretended zombie turned out to be a real zombie, which made her directly confused. Who is the real zombie and who is the fake zombie? Back off. Back off. Quick, quick, get out of here. Back off. Stay away from him. A bodyguard was also surprised to see this, and hurriedly drew a pistol to guard. He wanted to shoot, but the surrounding was too chaotic, worried that he would accidentally injure passersby, and kept yelling to let the people around him avoid. On the other hand, he kept approaching and issued a stern warning, telling the man to quickly let go of the security guard and stop biting people. If he didn't leave, then don't blame him for shooting. If it was an ordinary person, he would naturally leave if he was warned by someone with a gun pointed at him, but this is a zombie who does not know fear, how could he be afraid? For the bodyguard's warning, he didn't care at all, and continued to bite frantically. The bodyguard looked at the zombie mixed with the security guard, and couldn't aim at all. He could only scolded, rushed forward, and pushed the lunatic away. Roar! The biting madman was finally pushed away, but he immediately got up from the ground and rushed towards the bodyguard. There is no human appearance in that crazy appearance, like a bloodthirsty beast. Boom! The bodyguard had no choice but to shoot, instantly knocking the madman down. It's too late, he's dead. The bodyguard leaned down and reached out to feel the policeman's pulse. However, where there is still a pulse, the security guard has been bitten to death. Another bodyguard gestured at him. The bodyguard followed the fingers of the other bodyguard and looked at the madman who fell to the ground. In an instant, he was immediately dumbfounded. The madman who was shot down by him just now didn't die, he got up from the ground as if nothing happened. It's impossible, I obviously shot him, hit him. Why is he okay? The bodyguard felt his scalp numb. He was very sure that he was hit by the 2 shots just now, and the 2 bullet holes in his body were still there. But why in the end, this lunatic got up as if nothing was wrong? What kind of monster is he? Come on, get out of there. Claire deserves to be someone who has experienced the raccoon incident, but she still doesn't understand what happened here. What Chu Feng said is true, a zombie crisis really broke out here. That's not a lunatic at all, but a zombie. Those who are bitten quickly become zombies. So hurry up and warn. Yet it was too late. Roar. The security guard who was originally dead on the ground suddenly opened his gray eyes and rushed towards the bodyguard. It bit down on his calf. What? The bodyguard screamed and shot at the security guard. However, the bullet hit him with no use at all. Roar. The zombies on the other side finally got up and rushed towards him. The calf was bitten, and the bodyguard couldn't escape at all, and was instantly drowned by 2 zombies. The bodyguards behind saw this and hurriedly shot to rescue their companions. However, in the airport at this time, a large number of zombies appeared unexpectedly. The zombies heard his gunshots and rushed towards him frantically. Ah! The bodyguard screamed and followed in the footsteps of the previous bodyguard. Yeah, Davy's other subordinates dared to stop when they saw this, they kept retreating in fright, and fled back desperately. Wait, where are you going? Seeing this, Davis became even more terrified and shouted. However, that subordinate ignored him at all, and disappeared in a blink of an eye. As a powerful person, how beautiful he was in the past, how downhearted he is now. In the face of life and death, except for the 2 dead bodyguards, no one paid any attention to him. And it won't be long before the bodyguards who were desperately trying to protect him will also want to kill him madly. Of course, in the face of zombies, not everyone is afraid. Reporting live for you from Vale Airport, a Vale Pharma opponent attacked a security guard. We can see that the security guard is dead. But now, the security guard has attacked the senator's bodyguard in the same way. It turned out that the female reporter who followed Davis saw the scene of the security guard being bitten and then biting the bodyguard. Not only was she not afraid, but she even broadcasted it live next to her. That nerve is big, let a person ashamed. For the sake of performance, she also worked hard enough. Of course, if it is the general case, those opponents will only attack Davis, not reporters like her. But she ignored one thing, that is, those at this time are not opponents at all, but zombies. Ho ho ho. Soon, a zombie behind the female reporter was attracted by the female reporter and rushed towards her. Wow. The little brother who was carrying the camera saw this. Without hesitation, he dropped the camera, turned around and ran away. Just kidding, this doesn't look like an opponent. It's a monster. If you don't run, you will die. Eddie, why did you stop? How? Ah. The female reporter was facing the camera, and she didn't know how much chaos had deteriorated behind her at this time, and she was puzzled when the photographer left her to escape. This is the scoop. It would be a pity to miss it. These people are just against Davis and will not attack them. The female reporter turned her head in confusion and was greeted by a bloody mouth. Rennie. Looking at the chaotic scene, Claire was stunned. If you get bitten, you will bite someone else. This scene is all too familiar, just like in Raccoon City. In other words, what Chu Feng said is true, the airport is really in crisis. When she came back to her senses, her first reaction was to protect Renee. Boom. However, he ran into a long-haired man head-on. The man turned his head, glared at her fiercely, and turned to leave. Curtis Miller. Claire watched the man leave, and suddenly came back to her senses. Isn't that the opponent Curtis? This man she had seen on the TV news was detained for opposing research on Will Pharmaceuticals. How could he be here? Claire didn't understand, and didn't think about it anymore, and was ready to run towards Renee again. However, after such a delay, Renee has disappeared from the crowd. Renee. Renee. Seeing that Renee was missing, Claire was so anxious that she kept calling to find Renee. Roar. A zombie was immediately attracted by her call, opened its bloody mouth, and rushed towards her. Claire was so focused on looking for the little girl that she didn't pay attention at all. Directly thrown to the ground by the zombies. Ho ho ho. The zombies madly bit down on Claire's neck. With the bite force of a zombie, if bitten, it must be terrible. What's even more terrifying is that the virus will turn people into zombies very quickly. As expected from the Raccoon City, Claire reacted very quickly. In the nick of time, he stuck his hand on the zombie's neck, so that he would not be bitten by the zombie. But only temporarily. The power of the zombies is endless and tireless, but Claire can't stand it for long. Puff. Just when Claire thought she was going to die here, a dagger flew from behind her and shot into the zombie's forehead with precision. The zombie slowly fell softly. The long-lost system prompt sounded in Chu Feng's mind. Ding. Congratulations to the host, kill an ordinary zombie and get 10 points. Chu Feng feels very cool. After the Raccoon City crisis, he has not found zombies to kill for a long time. His level has also been stuck at Tier 3 with no progress. The zombie outbreak at the airport today was a good opportunity for him to level up. Chu Feng. Claire turned around and saw that the person who saved her was none other than Chu Feng, and said in surprise. Renee is over there. If you want to save people, hurry up and go. Facing Claire, Chu Feng just nodded lightly, pointed to the direction that Renee had left, and said. He didn't really want to save Claire, he just did it. Claire got Chu Feng's instructions, looked over, and saw that Renee was running out of the crowd. She seemed to be looking for the old woman. Thanks. Claire thanked Chu Feng and ran in the direction of Renee. Boom. At this time, after a crashed passenger plane made an emergency landing, it did not slow down and rushed towards this side frantically. All kinds of seat zombies were crushed and smashed along the way. In the face of such a huge passenger plane crash, ordinary people will inevitably avoid it. However, Chu Feng looked at the passenger plane that hit him with excitement, and went up to him. It's just a passenger plane. With Chu Feng's third-order Magneto ability, he doesn't take it seriously. He remembered that the passenger plane was full of zombies, and when he took control of the passenger plane, he would kill him happily. Facing the huge passenger plane that was rolling over all the way, Chu Feng directly activated the electromagnetic force field and was ready to control the passenger plane. Claire, who was about to leave, turned around abruptly when she heard the loud crash. Just saw the airliner crash into the lobby. And Chu Feng did not escape. If the passenger plane continued to move forward, Chu Feng would definitely be crushed to pieces. Claire looked at Renee, who was about to disappear into the crowd in the distance, and then looked at Chu Feng, who was about to be run over by the passenger plane. After hesitating for a while, she still rushed towards Chu Feng firmly. If a child is lost, he can be found again, and when a person dies, he is really gone. Chu Feng saved her life. She must not watch Chu Feng be hit and killed by the passenger plane. Be careful. In an instant, Claire rushed towards Chu Feng desperately. What? Chu Feng was about to take control of the crashed passenger plane when he turned around when he heard the sound, just in time to see Claire jumping in front of him. Before Chu Feng understood what was happening, Claire rolled him to the side while holding him. Boom! The nose of the huge passenger plane swept past where Chu Feng stood just now, crushing the chairs in the various halls all the way forward. Dang! Dang! A large number of fragments shot out, but Claire kept Chu Feng under her protection. No matter how those fragments scratched her back, she would not let go. Feeling Claire's warm embrace, Chu Feng was stunned. What is this woman doing? Desperately protecting him. After a long time, everything was calm. At this time, Claire opened her eyes. Chu Feng also opened his eyes, and the two looked at each other. What are you doing? Chu Feng looked at the beautiful woman in front of him, felt the oppression of Shang Da Shang and asked in doubt. Chu Feng was trying to control the passenger plane, but Claire didn't know which tendon was wrong, and even threw him down regardless of the danger to his life. I said, Claire, although you are indeed beautiful and in good shape, you can't press him like that. Now that the plane has landed, what does it mean that you are still relying on me? What for what? I just saved your life. After Claire made sure there was no danger around, she got up from Chu Fengfeng and said. From Claire's point of view, if she hadn't sacrificed her life to save her just now, Chu Feng would have been crushed to death by the passenger plane. Chu, 387, Feng didn't thank her even if she didn't, but she still looked puzzled and didn't understand what was going on, which made her angry and funny. She didn't understand that since this Chu Feng knew that there would be zombies erupting here, he could also knock down a zombie with a dagger. Such a person's hands and reactions should be good. How to look at him, it seems that his mind is not very smart. He didn't even realize that she had just saved his life. You save me. Chu Feng was about to cry when he saw that beautiful and cute Claire with a little naivety. He didn't know whether to be moved or to laugh. With his current ability, he can withstand a nuclear explosion for a while. Does he need Claire's rescue? It was the big plane just now. If Claire hadn't knocked him down, he could have held it down with his hand. Nonsense, or do you think you still have a chance to talk to me now? Hey, what happened to you just now? You came forward when you saw the plane coming. Do you know how dangerous you were just now? Seeing that Chu Feng was here, Claire didn't even know that he had just been rescued by her. She was very dissatisfied with Chu Feng's delayed response, and said angrily. It seems to be saying, I saved you, and that's your attitude. I'm so pissed. I wouldn't have saved you if I knew it earlier. To save you, I almost died here. In the end, you didn't even have a word of thanks. She didn't understand what happened to Chu Feng. Normal people would have run for their lives when they saw the plane crash. Only Chu Feng did not run away, but even rushed up stupidly. Ah, I can control it with my hand, why did I hide? Chu Feng was even more confused. With his Magneto third-order terrifying power, it was easy to control a crashed plane. Why did he hide? PFF'd. He, ha ha ha. You want to take control of the plane that crashed. Do you know how big, how long, and how heavy it was? After listening to Chu Feng's words, Claire couldn't hold back. She was directly amused by Chu Feng and gave Chu Feng a roll of eyes. Needless to say, this Chu Feng was absolutely frightened to say that he wanted to control the crashed passenger plane. You must know that the passenger plane is only 3.40 meters in length, and that is a behemoth. You, Chu Feng, are like an ant in front of it. Chu Feng dares to do this kind of thing, either a lunatic or a fool. She couldn't understand, how could she take risks for a fool? Boom. Just as Claire sneered, the door of the plane opened. In a quiet airport, such a sound is very harsh. Ho ho ho. A hoarse sound of zombies came from the passenger plane. Boom. A zombie walked out of the passenger cabin door staggeringly, because the passenger plane did not put down the ladder, so the zombie walked to the door and fell directly out. Boom. Boom. Bang bang bang. With the appearance of the first zombie, the second, the third, the fourth. Zombies kept walking out of the cabin door, and they kept falling off the plane, making a loud noise. Impossible, none of this is true. Claire watched the zombies come one after another in front of her, her beautiful eyes widened in disbelief. At this moment, she seemed to have returned to Raccoon City, the moment when the terrifying zombies roamed. Not only are there zombies at the airport, but the entire plane is actually full of zombies. No wonder the plane did not slow down after the forced landing, it turned out that it was already occupied by zombies. It is estimated that there is no one alive on the plane at this time. Monsters, a lot of monsters, what to do? The fat man in Davis was very lucky, he didn't die in the plane crash, he survived. Looking at the staggering zombie standing up, his face was horrified. The zombies in the airport are already scary enough, his 2 bodyguards are all dead, and now there is another plane of zombies, what a joke, they will all die here. Point 0. Hoo 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 hoo. The many zombies that got off the plane seemed to have finally discovered Chu Feng and the others, and they all got up from the ground and rushed towards the crowd. A lot of zombies. It seems that today is my lucky day, see how I. Chu Feng saw a large wave of zombies rushing towards him, and instead of being surprised, he stepped out and was ready to start harvesting the zombies. This time, he did not come by mistake. Judging from the situation, there were hundreds of zombies on the plane alone. Killing them all, Chu Feng is one step closer to the 4th rank. Run. It's just that Chu Feng's words hadn't been finished yet. Claire on the side saw that Chu Feng didn't know how high the sky was and wanted to go up to deal with the zombies. Hey, beauty, what are you doing? Didn't you see me killing zombies? Chu Feng was pulled by Claire and ran backwards, speechless. What the hell is this stupid woman doing? You say you, run if you want, why do you want to pull him? This is points, a lot of points. Just waiting for him to harvest it. What are you pulling him for? That's a zombie. You can only kill it with a headshot. You don't even have a dagger, so what are you killing? Run, we'll be finished when the zombies are surrounded. Others don't know the horror of zombies, but Claire knows it. Hundreds of zombies, even with a large number of hot weapons, can't deal with that many. You alone, you don't even have a small dagger, you dare to rush up, you will die. Also kill zombies, kill your head. If you don't run at this time, you won't be able to run until you are surrounded by zombies. Although Chu Feng is a bit arrogant, he reminded her of the zombie outbreak and saved her life when she was most dangerous. She must never let Chu Feng die in vain. Okay. Chu Feng wanted to scold Claire, but he felt the warmth from Claire's palm, saw her earnestly saving people, and then saw Claire's back cut by debris in order to save him, so he couldn't say anything. For some reason, Chu Feng felt a little warm. He only had one relationship with Claire, but she took risks for him several times with the weakness of an ordinary person, just to rescue him, which made Chu Feng very heartwarming. In the zombie apocalypse, there are not many beautiful and loving people like Claire. After a while, everyone entered the corridor. Ho ho ho. A wave of zombies appeared in front, blocking the way. Everyone wanted to go back and find another way to leave, but behind them was already blocked by a large number of airliner zombies. This time, they were attacked from back and forth, in a dilemma. Claire led the crowd to the left and right, but they were unable to break through. Instead, they began to be surrounded by zombies. There are too many zombies to rush out, do you have any other way? Davis looked at the zombies in front and back with a look of horror. He doesn't want to die. He is a volunteer, and there is a lot of glory and wealth waiting for him. God, who can save us? Watching the zombies encircle, the chances of everyone leaving are getting slimmer and slimmer. Davis's female assistant began to pray to God. Do you have anything as a weapon? Everyone's legs were weak in the face of the zombies, let alone fighting. The scene actually relied on this Claire alone to support the scene, so as not to be eaten by the zombies. Once surrounded, those people were immediately desperate. However, Claire is very strong. Even at the age of 20, she has not given up any hope of life. Now that you are surrounded, look for all available weapons to break through. Weapons. How could I possibly be armed? My bodyguards have them. As a counselor, Davis was always protected by bodyguards when he went out, and he never thought that he would need to fight on his own. And he is a fat man. Where does the fighting power come from? Claire rolled her eyes, saying that she didn't say anything. The bodyguard was already dead. Is this okay? The female assistant looked left and right and handed Claire an umbrella. This is still to be used for Davis's sunshade. This umbrella might be the only weapon on her body. That's it. Anything else? Claire held the umbrella with a look of weakness on her face. Surrounded by so many zombies, when they had to break out of the siege, they put together an umbrella. Even the Valkyrie can't carry her. Oh, and this. Seeing that Claire was angry, the female assistant touched her jacket pocket, took out another coin, and handed it over. Well, it's not as good as this. Claire looked at the coin in the female assistant's hand and was about to cry. What is the use of a coin against zombies? How about that umbrella? What coin is that? Chu Feng looked at the coin and was a little surprised, because it was an ancient coin, and it was impossible to use it in this era. He was very curious, how could this female assistant carry such a coin? This, which was handed down from my mother, said that carrying it would bring me good luck. The female assistant stroked the coin and explained. What the hell brings good luck? Does it look like good luck now? Davis was furious when he heard what the female assistant said. What good luck can a coin bring? Now is bad luck. If you take a risk, a pocket knife is more reliable than this coin. Bringing a coin is useless. As everyone knows, he is even more unbearable. At least a female assistant can provide an umbrella and coins, and he doesn't even have coins. I'll fight the zombies in a while, and let's walk through the corridor together. Claire rolled up the umbrella and placed it in front of everyone, preparing to use this umbrella to cut a bloody path for everyone. For some reason, Chu Feng felt inexplicable joy when he saw Claire holding an umbrella and preparing to fight the zombies. But her firm and serious expression made Chu Feng unable to laugh. This is really a strong girl. Your mother didn't lie to you. This is indeed a magical coin that brings good luck. Can you lend me a coin? Chu Feng looked at the female assistant and said with a smile. Ah, when, of course, but what's the use of it? The female assistant only used this coin to pray, and never thought it would come in handy. Seeing that Chu Feng needs it, he does not refuse. But she wondered, what is the use of such a coin? Don't underestimate this coin, we all depend on it to break through. Chu Feng faced the coin a little empty, and the electromagnetic force field unfolded, directly manipulating the electromagnetic force to make the coin levitate. In the eyes of others, a coin is useless. But in his hands, Chu Feng, it can become the most terrifying weapon in the world. What? It's suspended. Impossible. How can the coin be suspended? Seeing that the ordinary coin was actually suspended under Chu Feng's void, both Davis and the female assistant opened their mouths and their eyes widened in disbelief. The female assistant has been carrying this coin for more than 10 years, and the coin can fly. How could she not know it? Davis looked at the floating coin in disbelief. Because it was close, he could see it clearly. It was not magic, the coin was really suspended. But the question is, how can the coin be suspended? Could it be that, as Chu Feng said, it is a magical coin that can really repel zombies? Are you ready? I'm going to rush. Claire in the front did not see the situation behind. She held the umbrella and gritted her teeth, her eyes full of determination. Roar. Zombies didn't expect a human to use that ridiculous umbrella to deal with them, and they looked down on zombies too much. With a roar, he pounced on Claire. Ah! Claire held the umbrella without any fear, and went up to it directly. She knew that the longer the delay, the more zombies gathered around, and the less likely they were to break through alive. So she broke out, directly using the umbrella as a weapon, and rushed towards the zombie. Get ready to fight zombies to the death with this ridiculous umbrella. Go. Just when Claire was carrying her umbrella, she was about to fight the zombie recklessly. Chu Feng pointed at the coin, and the electromagnetic force field vibrated all over his body. The coin turned into a bolt of lightning and was ejected directly. Puff! The zombie was headshot by a coin before it could reach Claire. Bang! The first zombie's body softened and fell down. What? Before the umbrella that Claire held up had fallen, she found that the originally aggressive zombie suddenly fell down, with a puzzled look on her face. Because the aisle was dark and the coin attack was sudden, Claire didn't realize that the zombie was headshot. She didn't understand at all what was going on with this zombie, why it suddenly fell to the ground and didn't move. Doubts are doubts, but Claire has a strong desire to survive. Seeing the zombies fall, continued to rush forward. Puff! Boom! The coin turned into a cold light, and the second zombie also fell head-on. Quote question mark question mark question mark question mark quote. Claire's raised umbrella stopped in the air, and she became even more puzzled as she watched the second zombie fall again. Ho ho ho! More zombies rushed to Claire's side without fear of death. Ah! Claire didn't have time to think, and continued to greet her with an umbrella. Whoosh whoosh! Puff puff! Chu Feng used the electromagnetic force field to control the coin and began to madly shuttle among the zombies in the corridor. Wherever Chu Feng's fingers moved, the head of the zombie was pierced by the coin. The cold light flashed frantically, like a slaughter dance at the fingertips, dazzling. Boom boom boom. After a short stagnation, all the zombies in the entire corridor fell almost at the same time. In an instant, a large number of kill reward reminders sounded in Chu Feng's mind. Ding! Congratulations to the host, kill an ordinary zombie and get 10 points. Ding! Congratulations to the host, kill 3 ordinary zombies, get 30 points. Ding! Congratulations to the host, kill 6 ordinary zombies, get 60 points. So, what is that? Hard coin, how is that possible? Claire didn't find it the first time, and didn't see it clearly the second time. Until Chu Feng controlled the coin to attack the zombies frantically for the third time, Claire finally saw the cold light flashing on the coin and exclaimed. Whoosh! The zombies in front of the corridor have been cleaned up, and Chu Feng also recalled the coin. At this time, Claire just turned around, and the coin missed Claire's gaze. In an instant, Claire's pupils widened, looking at the coin with shock and disbelief. The moment she missed the coin, she clearly saw that the pattern on the coin was the coin that the female assistant just gave her. The recalled coin was also suspended at Chu Feng's fingertips, emitting a wang wang vibration. The blood on it was thrown away directly, and there was not a trace of blood on it, and it was as clean as when the female assistant lent it to Chu Feng at the beginning. As if it never left, but it has actually killed a wave of zombies. God, the coin of the gods, the coin of the gods. You were right, this is a coin that brings us good luck. Awesome, really awesome. Looking at the ordinary coin, Davis widened his small eyes and stared at the coin with greed in his eyes. He did not expect that such a small coin could have such magical powers. After a few back and forth, all the zombies in the passage were killed. With this coin, he is equal to an extra life. That is simply to have the greatest treasure in the world. Ah, this is really my coin. The female assistant was also dumbfounded. Her mother had told her before that the coin would keep her safe. She still didn't believe it, and it was just a memory of her dead mother in her pocket. However, she never thought that one day, she would be saved by this coin. Yes, this is your coin, ma'am, returned. Chu Feng smiled and nodded to the female assistant. Although the coin was very cool, it seemed that Chu Feng had no intention of possessing it and returned it directly to the female assistant. Davis, who was on the side, looked at the coin with greed. I can't wait to go up and grab the coin immediately. However, he is a member of the righteousness after all, so naturally he can't rob it so blatantly. But in his heart, he has already decided that this coin is his. Originally, he just wanted to make T-virus infected people at the airport, and then he went out to launch an antiviral serum, and the stock of Will Pharmaceuticals, which he supported, would rise like crazy. And because he was on the scene, no one would suspect that he was operating in secret. But he never thought that a plane of zombies suddenly landed in the sky, disrupting his original plan. Davis, who was still feeling unlucky at first, discovered the treasure of coins, which was simply more joyful than the rise in stocks. Of course, although Davis concealed it well, he couldn't escape the eyes of Chu Feng, a traveler. He had long known that the T-virus in the airport was made by Davis, so he had been staring at him for a long time, and the corner of his mouth rose slightly when he saw his greed towards the coin. Ah, good. The female reporter hurriedly put the precious coin away carefully, not to mention how careful it was. Ho ho ho. At this time, the passenger plane zombie brigade finally approached, roaring and rushing towards it. Walk. Chu Feng took the lead and ran straight ahead. Claire, Davis and the female assistant followed without any hesitation. Boom. Everyone quickly entered a lounge and locked the door. At this time, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. I said, why don't we keep killing zombies with that coin? After he was safe, Davis was still obsessed with the coin and asked with a puzzled look. This coin can be controlled with the mind, killing the invisible, but it needs to absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, and can only be used once in 24 hours. Chu Feng knew what Davis was thinking, so he pretended to speak, and was talking nonsense. Under normal circumstances, Davis is a good guy and a bad guy has nothing to do with him. Davis asked people to spread the first wave of the T-virus at the airport. Those people were not related to him, nor were they from Kyushu, and he didn't want to pay any attention. Besides, he can't level up without zombies. However, Claire has been protecting him, making Chu Feng feel very warm, and he has written down this favor. Chu Feng remembered that in the original plot, if he didn't show up, this guy pushed Renee off the zombie horde when he was finally rescued, almost killing Claire. This has something to do with Chu Feng. He cheated on Claire, so Chu Feng also planned to cheat him before leaving. Oh, so it is. Quote, Davis suddenly realized. Yeah. At this moment, a little girl's scream came from a distance. It's Renee, we have to go out and help. Claire was still a little interested in the magical coin that Chu Feng said, but when she heard the child's scream, she couldn't sit still. She heard it really, it was Renee's voice. Her friend put the child in her temporary custody, and now that she is in danger, she must go and save her. It's too late, can't we help? Good money Zhao. Davis is selfish, and naturally he will not take risks for others and directly refuse to help. He didn't take into account that when he was chased by zombies just now, it was Claire who saved him. Now that Claire's friend is in trouble, she never thought of repaying this kindness. If you're going, then I'll follow you. On the contrary, the female assistant saw this and knew that she couldn't do anything, but she still planned to help. After all, she was also rescued just now, and no one wants to be abandoned by others when they are in distress. I'll go with you. Chu Feng took a step forward and said. He took note of Claire's favor for saving him just now. Now that she needs help, Chu Feng has no reason to refuse. And Chu Feng came here to kill zombies, so saving Na Renee is also a good way to go. Claire looked at Chu Feng, showing gratitude. Oh my god, you two are really crazy. You don't stay in such a safe place, and you have to go out to save people. Linda, you can't go out, you are my assistant, and I must keep your life safe. Seeing that Chu Feng and Claire were about to leave, Davis didn't stop him, he was already safe, and he didn't care if they lived or died. But the female assistant did not let her go. Of course, it wasn't Davis who cared about her life or death, but the precious coins on her body. Linda hesitated. Don't look at the zombie crisis now, but after that, she still has to work. She had to listen to what Davis said. But she really wanted to help. It's okay, just stay. Chu Feng also saw Linda's embarrassment and said. Okay, then be careful. Although Linda wanted to help, she also understood her skill, and going out was also a drag. Reluctantly give up. Creak. The door opened, and Claire looked out the door and found that the zombies outside had left, let out a long sigh, and carefully went out with the ridiculous umbrella. Chu Feng looked a little funny from the back. With him in the apocalypse, Magneto, and will have no worries. Of course, Claire didn't know that Chu Feng was strong, so he still opened the way ahead. Chu Feng did not keep up immediately, but waved to Linda. Linda stepped forward with a look of doubt. Chu Feng motioned her to come closer. Linda hesitated for a moment, but still put her ears close. Chu Feng almost whispered into Linda's ear. What? Linda was startled when she heard Chu Feng's words, and looked at Davis, making Davis look puzzled. She didn't understand what Chu Feng was about to leave. Remember, seeing that it was almost time, Chu Feng asked. Remember, don't worry. Linda also knew that this was an opportunity to make a fortune, and nodded gratefully to Chu Feng. Chu Feng then left the door and walked towards Claire. "Hey, what did you just tell her?" Muttering. Seeing Chu Feng coming over, Claire asked with a puzzled look. She didn't understand why Chu Feng whispered to Linda before leaving. It seemed that the two of them were somewhat close. "Nothing." Chu Feng is reluctant to say more in this regard. After all, the fact that Claire was almost killed by Davis happened in another time and space. In this time and space, it will not happen. To vent her anger for such a thing, she didn't believe it when she said it. Quote. Claire choked directly, and a nameless anger rose in her heart. For some reason, she felt a little uncomfortable when she saw the two of them whispering. But then Claire reacted, she shouldn't be so angry. Who does Chu Feng whisper to, and who is close to her? What does it have to do with her? Why is she so irritable? Claire is very puzzled. Since Steve died, she has been unable to get out of the past, so she is single so far. It stands to reason that she will not care about anything. But watching Chu Feng whispering to other women, she felt a little uncomfortable. She hurriedly shook her head, shook off those strange emotions, and regained her composure. Claire held the umbrella with a nervous and cautious look on her face. This channel has been powered off, and the sun is about to set outside, so the channel at this time is very dim. The entire passage is like a sleeping monster, opening its mouth wide open and waiting for the two to enter. Tap tap. The corridor was very quiet, and the footsteps of the two who were originally small were amplified a lot, making it very clear on the quiet passage. Chu Feng could even hear the beating of Claire's heart. Obviously, even though she is brave, she is still a woman after all, and she is still extremely nervous when facing the unknown terror. "Rennie." When the two approached the intersection, Claire called out. For the average person, it should be as quiet as possible. But they were looking for someone, and if they didn't say anything, how would they know where Renee was? The passage was originally very quiet, but after Claire's voice was amplified by the passage, it gave people a sense of depth. The atmosphere at the scene was even more depressing. Cafe. No answer is not a good sign. No sound was heard, which made Claire feel bad. If Renee was there, she would definitely respond. But no one responded, stating that the sound just came from farther than they heard, meaning they had to go further afield to find someone. Claire gritted her teeth and quickly stuck her head out. The umbrella in her hand was ready to attack the zombies at any time. However, the turning of the front corridor did not contain any zombies, and it was still empty. Obviously, because of the scream from Renee in the hall just now, a large number of zombies that had followed them had already run away. Claire didn't know if this was a good thing or a bad thing. Seeing that there were no zombies, Claire let out a sigh of relief. Snapped. At this time, Chu Feng couldn't bear the oppressive atmosphere created by this woman, and patted Claire's shoulder directly. "Yeah, you, what are you doing? Don't scare me." Claire jumped up suddenly like a kitten with fried fur, and turned around quickly. "When I saw Chu Feng, I let out a sigh of relief. You're scaring me. I wasn't nervous at first, but when you do this, I'm terrified. I'd better go ahead." Chu Feng is speechless. These are just some ordinary zombies, and their combat power is really not very good. If Chu Feng was alone, he would not be afraid at all. But under Claire's cautious and repressed atmosphere, he felt a little hairy himself. Chu Feng really didn't want the woman to continue walking forward. If he continued like this, he became nervous even when he was not nervous. "Come on, can you? You don't have a weapon." For Chu Feng's volunteering, Claire's suspicious look, and for Chu Feng, who even wanted to control the plane, she was very worried that he would rush randomly in front of him. "If you rush into the zombie group, you will be miserable. Rest assured, I have my measure." After Chu Feng said, he directly grabbed a handrail in the corridor. The electromagnetic force field vibrated, and a welded steel pipe was easily removed by Chu Feng, holding it in his hand and continuing to move forward. Mumble, this. Claire, who originally despised Chu Feng, watched Chu Feng pull the handrail off the wall, and the whole person was dumbfounded. She opened her small mouth and widened her beautiful eyes, looking at Chu Feng with disbelief. "Oh my God, that's a steel handrail welded on the wall for the convenience of the disabled. Was it torn down by Chu Feng like this?" Claire didn't believe in evil, and pulled the remaining steel pipe, but the steel pipe didn't move at all. Could it be an accident? Chu Feng just happened to pull a loose steel pipe. Why are you standing still? Let's go. Don't want to save people. Chu Feng turned back and saw Claire standing there with a puzzled expression, and urged. Oh, come on. When Claire heard the words, she reacted and quickly followed. The two turned the corner and found that there were still no zombies there. Yeah, before the two could breathe a sigh of relief, at the end of the other side of the passage, Renee's scream came again. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.